22-year-old student Dana Martin is suing former friend, 20-year-old student Robin Harrington, for the cost of 2 tickets to a Britney Spears concert.
Don't get comfortable, Bert. Have everybody sit down.
Okay. Have a seat. Don't get comfortable.
Right.
Have a seat.
Mr. Martin, you purchased a couple of concert tickets for Britney Spears' concert, and you say you bought them for the defendant who said she wanted to go. Now she changed her mind, and you say you're stuck with the tickets, and you want her to pay the $250 for the tickets.
That's correct.
Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. When is the concert?
21st.
So the concert hasn't happened yet?
No, ma'am.
And she said, sure, get me a couple of tickets. You told her that the concert was in Chicago. Is that right?
That's correct.
Right.
No, ma'am. I told her we had gotten tickets in February for the concert in Chicago, and there were really bad seats behind the stage, so I sent those back. So we said that we would get tickets to the concert in Indianapolis when they went on sale. And she said, purchase me 2 tickets, so I did.
Just a second. Did you know that the concert was in Indianapolis?
No, I didn't.
Where did you think the concert was?
In Chicago.
Is that what they originally told you?
Exactly. He didn't tell me it was Indianapolis until he wanted me to pay for them.
All right. Where are the tickets now?
They're here.
How many people are going?
4.
Did you try to sell those 2 tickets?
I tried to get rid of them, but I couldn't.
But those are real good seats.
Yeah, they're really good seats.
Put them on eBay. Somebody's going to buy them. You pay $250 for them?
Right.
And they're...
No,
and
I paid 100.
Go ahead.
I paid $170 for them, but I don't feel that I should have to exhaust myself trying to sell these tickets when we had an agreement that she was going to pay for these tickets.
Very good. Put them on eBay, sir. You got rid of the ones that were in Chicago because you said they weren't good enough seats. You got real good seats this time?
We sent it. Yeah, we sent it.
Just a second. You got real good seats?
Yes, we did.
Put them on eBay. Case dismissed.
All these are excused. You may step out.
20-year-old students Jamie Johnson and Jackie Sullivan are suing their former roommate, 21-year-old Melissa Shills, for damages to their apartment caused by her boyfriend.
Miss Johnson, you and Miss Sullivan rented an apartment together with the defendant, and it is your claim that her boyfriend, I assume this is the boyfriend?
Correct.
Has a bad temper and caused some damage to the apartment. Holes in the walls, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you believe that she should be responsible for that you should not be responsible to the landlord for paying for the damage that her boyfriend caused.
That's right.
Just tell me what damage you allege that he caused.
He punched a hole in Melissa's bedroom wall.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
What else?
He tried to break down the bedroom door and, in doing so, caused damage through the door, like cracked the door.
Did you do that?
That was also done, yes.
What else?
And he proceeded into the kitchen and kicked in the kitchen cupboard door.
Did you do that?
I kicked it. It wasn't...
You kicked it?
Yes.
It's up to you. That's all they have to say.
All right, I've actually already paid for these damages.
Show me.
All right. Here's my security deposit check for $300 that I gave originally to the landlord.
Yeah?
And then I did receive some money back. However, I did take the damages out of my $300 then.
So how much did you get in total back from your security deposit?
$119.
Okay.
Here's
Now,
the sheet that shows that.
let me just see. How long did you live in the apartment?
For 2 months.
That's how all of the damages apartment was split up, all our security deposits.
So it came out of all your security deposits. Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You didn't pay for this.
I have the receipt.
There are other things here.
Correct. Other damages that they did to their bedrooms. If they didn't want to pay for the damages I did, why would I pay for damages
You didn't
they
do the
did?
damage. He did the damage.
He paid me for those damages that came out of the security deposit.
No, it doesn't come out of the security deposit. Let me explain something to you. You rent an apartment. There is ordinary wear and tear on an apartment, and there are things that the landlord always finds. Needs a little more paint. The carpet is stained here. It has to be clean. Little things. Security deposit is not intended for someone kicking holes in the walls. That's not what it's intended for. So the 3 of you moved into an apartment together. There are damages caused by the 3 of you, which you, as lessees, agreed to take care of jointly, not anticipating his damage. He's not on the lease.
No.
He doesn't belong there.
I also have pictures of the damages.
I don't need pictures of the damage. He acknowledges that he did the damage. And he should have paid for the damage.
The damages he did were only $238.
You are responsible, however, madam, for a portion of the rest of the bills.
I only lived there for 2 months. If someone else was living there in my place, I feel that person should be responsible then for the cleaning costs.
When did you move in and did you sign a lease?
I signed a lease in April, and I moved.
When did you move out?
I moved out in October, but I only lived there September and October.
I have a copy
I don't
of
care.
the lease, Your Honor.
Well, you moved out when?
If you'd like to see.
At the beginning of November.
Okay. And you still had a lease?
Correct, and I did continue to pay rent until someone else moved in to take
Then
over
you have
the
to
rent
pay
payment.
portion of the utilities as well. Some of that money you should not have gotten back because they ended up paying a piece of the damage that he caused. Why did you cause... Stand up. Why did you cause this damage to the apartment?
It wasn't intentional damage.
Yes,
to
of
the
course it
apartment.
was. Did somebody drug you?
No.
You just had a bad temper.
I wouldn't say I have a bad temper.
Well, what is it when you punch a hole in a wall, kick in a cabinet, kick in a door? What is that?
Yeah, but they weren't all intended damages. It's not
We
like
all
I
felt
meant to.
unsafe after.
What do you mean they weren't intended damages? I don't understand that.
Well, I didn't intend to put a hole in the wall or.
What did
kick-
you intend to do?
Nothing.
What did you intend to do?
I was angry. I was upset.
Angry at whom?
I don't really remember.
You weren't angry with me.
No.
You weren't angry at Bird.
No.
You were angry at her.
No.
You were angry at her.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So instead of hitting her, you hit the wall. Is that a fair statement?
I guess, yes.
Are you still together?
Yes.
Big mistake. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $178.75. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
22-year-old waitress Brandy Walkling is suing manufacturing laborer Shane McKnight for the cost to repair her car. Shane says the damage was the result of a freak accident.
Miss Walkling, you do not know the defendant. Is that correct?
Correct. No, I serve him every once in a while in the bar I work in.
But other than that, you have no relationship with him whatsoever.
Right.
It is your claim that his car hit and damaged your car.
Correct.
I want you to tell me when that happened.
That happened on March 8th
Where?
in the parking lot at the bar that I work at.
What time?
I get off work about 1:30, 1:45 a.m.
Tell me what happened.
I walked out of the bar, just got off work, and I noticed the rear end of his car was like sitting about this far from the side of my car, which I'll show pictures in a minute. And it was running, and the reverse lights were on, and the keys were in it, obviously, and it was locked. And so I didn't know what to do. So we went and we got the police, and eventually Shane came back, and he went through the parking lot a couple times, obviously, because he'd been drinking. And he had claimed that his car had went from this point in the parking lot here and reversed itself all the way into my car while he was gone getting his extra set of keys.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 22-year-old waitress Brandy Walkling is suing manufacturing laborer Shane McKnight for the cost to repair her car. Shane says the damage was the result of a freak accident.
So what he's saying is he locked his keys in the car. He wasn't in the car. And therefore, he's not responsible if his car rolled and damaged your car. That's your defense. Is that
Correct.
right, sir?
Yes.
And the car, when you arrived back in the parking lot, was not where you had parked it.
That's
Is
correct.
that right?
Yes.
The keys were locked in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
So clearly, nobody had gotten into the car to drive it. It had to have rolled from one place to another.
I disagree.
Tell me what you think happens.
There was a bunch of people from the bar where we made an attempt to get into the car. There was a guy there with one of those Jimmy type of bars that goes in between the window and the door. Several attempts were made to get into the car using that. And so I left to go call a tow truck to have them come out and unlock the door. And by the time I got back, the car had moved into the position that she claims.
So so you don't know what happened to the car?
Well, I maintain that one of the guys that was using the Jimmy to make an attempt to get into the car did get into the car while I was gone, backed it up, and staged the whole thing. That's
Okay,
what I
so let me understand your defense, sir. Your defense is that while you were gone, one of the people that you had asked for help
Yes.
had, in fact, gotten into the car, backed it up into her car.
Yeah, about 3 inches or so away. It wasn't even touching when I arrived.
Well, maybe it bounced off. She's not here because her car wasn't damaged.
Right.
She's here because her car was damaged. And then when he realized that he had backed it up into her car, got out, left the car running, and relocked the car.
Yes.
That's your defense.
Yes.
I want you to hum for me the theme from The Twilight Zone. Listen to me. I think I know what happened, Mr. McKnight. You left the keys in your car. The car was running. And you left to go get a tow truck. While you were gone, E.T. landed in the parking lot. With his little finger, you know that long finger? Managed to get in, unlock the car. But nobody could see him because you have to be under 10 years old to see him. Got into the car, backed into her car, right? And then the ship took off. Let me see pictures of the car, please. Nice. Show them to Mr. McKnight so he knows what he's going to pay for, and let me see the estimate.
I have 2 estimates here, and I'll give it to you.
Cheaper of the 2 estimates is $1,046.
Correct.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Parties may phone home. Step out, please.
Gail Martin is suing her former employer, day spa owner Kimberly Moss, for non-payment of services rendered. Kimberly says Gail abused her 10-year-old daughter, Lauren.
Miss Martin, you answered an ad in the paper for child care and light housework that the defendant had placed in the paper. It is your claim that you worked there and you were not fully paid before she let you go.
That's correct.
Okay. The defendant says you were, in fact, fully paid. Are these the 2 children she was supposed to take care of?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you answer the ad and when did you start working?
I answered the ad the first day I noticed it was in there, and there were 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy. And I started to work on, the first week was October the 10th, and the second week was October the 15th.
Okay, what was the pay arrangement?
She told me, I told her what I got at my last job, and she said I paid $10 an hour. And after the first week, which was the Friday, but I had to come back Saturday, she only paid me the $300 from the first 3 days.
Well, whatever it was,
it wasn't enough because I had worked that first week.
The first week, how many days did you work?
4 days.
Is that correct?
I really don't remember.
Well, if you don't remember, then I have to rely on her. And the second week you worked, how many days did you work?
I worked Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 3 days.
And how much were you paid during that 2-week period? Yes, you were.
The whole time I worked there, she paid me $300.
Okay. How much did you pay her?
When she first came to my employment, we agreed that she would get $100 a day. And
really? Not $10 an hour?
No.
$100 a day, irrespective of how many hours she worked?
Right.
First week she worked 4 days, and you gave her how much?
Whatever it was, she
said you only gave her $300.
Well, that's not accurate. Whatever I owed her is what I paid her.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nanny Gail Martin says former employer Kimberly Moss owes for babysitting fees. Kimberly says Gail threw her 10-year-old daughter in the shower with her clothes on.
So, what happened the second week?
The second week, she was paid up. On the last day, her car broke down. She asked if she could stay with us overnight for a couple days because she didn't have transportation to and from work. And I said that would be fine until she got her car fixed. The first morning of the night that she stayed over, there was a problem. And what happened was I was in bed. My daughter Chelsea came running to me to wake me up, telling me that Gail had put Lauren, my baby, into the hot shower with her nightgown on. So I got up and ran into her bedroom, and there she was crying, cuddled up in the corner in the hot shower. So I got in the shower with her in my nightgown and blocked the hot water from her and adjusted the temperature, and to try to reduce the trauma of what had already occurred, took a shower with her, got her out, we all got ready for school, took her to school. That is why my secretary drove her home, because if I was to confront her about it, it would have turned out ugly. So I had my secretary relieve her from.
Did you
that
put
was
the
the
child
last
in the
day.
shower?
No, ma'am, I would never do that to a child under any circumstances. Never. And if this did happen, how come she didn't call HRS? That's what I'd like to know. When she told me she didn't have the money.
Was in the shower?
The baby, Lauren, was.
Lauren? Come up here. Tell me about the shower.
I was in bed and I didn't want to get up because I didn't feel good. And then she picked me.
You mean get up to go to school?
Yeah. And she picked me up out of the bed and put me in the shower, and she turned the hot water on with my nightgown on.
No question in your mind about that?
Mm-mm.
Where was your sister?
She was in bed with me.
Had that ever happened before?
No.
Okay, go sit down. All right. Ms. Moss, the plaintiff worked for you for 3 days, the second week.
Correct.
Did you pay her?
I do not remember the exact amount of time that she was under our employment.
Fine. Then I have to rely on her records for those days.
That's fine.
That she was. Now, at that point, did you fire her?
That day, absolutely.
That day, she was let go?
Absolutely.
Okay. You say not. Is that right?
No, she explained to me she was going to go to Daytona Beach with her boyfriend, and that her business that she just opened, her Kimberly's Day Spa, they do facials
Whatever.
and massages.
You were
and
told that your services were no longer necessary.
Yes, because her business hadn't taken off like she expected it to, and that she couldn't afford it. This child that's wearing that nice little Sunday school outfit, that's not what they wore when I worked there. They dressed shamelessly.
What do you mean shamelessly?
They dressed in little Daisy Dukes with half their butt poking out the bottom, and little things with their belly buttons showing, and trying to go to school like that. They were, and makeup, and they were hellions.
And what about
They were 9 and 11, going on 17.
Go ahead.
I came back on the Monday to collect some money that she owed me from that previous week. Her oldest son was changing the locks on her house door. And I said, well, what happened? He says, don't expect to find any money here. We had a break-in. Our safe was broken into, but I didn't see any black powder anywhere. So he said, we don't have any money to pay you. So why would she have to do that if she paid me the week before?
Okay.
Now,
okay.
Ergo.
Okay. You work there according to your records, and since she doesn't have any records of her own, which she should have, a total of 7 days. I am crediting her testimony that your agreement was $100 a day, and that she paid you, according to your records, which I am crediting, $300, which means she owes you $400, and I'm issuing a judgment for the plaintiff in that amount. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Security officer Gloria Edwards is suing 18-year-old student Charity Garmany for damage to her car due to an accident. Charity says she was being chased.
Miss Edwards, it is your claim that the defendant, who you don't know, hit your car. Her car was traveling in reverse.
Yes.
Miss Garmany said, well, it's true she was traveling in reverse, but it was really both your faults. So tell me about it. When did it happen and where?
Okay, it happened April the 22nd on North Houston Street around 7:45.
Where were you going?
I was on my way to the grocery store.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, I was traveling south on North Houston Street.
Which is your car?
Car number 2 is my car. And about 500 feet from me was car number 1, which was her car. All of a sudden, I see her reverse lights come on. And I swerved to the right of the road, tried to get out of her way. And
when you say you saw her reverse lights go on, did she start to travel in reverse?
Yes. It was like at full speed because I had just turned onto this street, and I was doing maybe 15 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, I just saw her reverse light come on, so I was trying to get out of her way.
So you moved to try to get out of the way,
right?
And she hit you,
right?
On the side of your car,
right?
Okay. I assume she got out of the car.
Well, I got out of my car. I got out and walked around, and I asked her what was going on, and she said this girl was beating on the hood of her car. And I told her, I said, well, look at the damage that you've done to my vehicle and your vehicle. It's going to cost more to have mine and yours fixed than it is for a fist dent that somebody put on yours.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gloria Edwards says her car was damaged when Charity Garmany hit her while driving in reverse. Charity says she was being chased by another vehicle.
Okay, now I'll hear from you.
Okay, I was driving. Me and my friends were driving down the street. We was going to get off the road, was leaving to go across the railroad tracks. And I was coming forward.
And what?
I was coming forward, going off the street. I'm right here.
You were going forward.
Yes, to go across the street, to go across the railroad tracks. That's when Nikki and Aaron pulled their car in front of mine to block me in.
Nikki and Aaron are people that you know?
I know them, but I don't know them personally. I know them by name.
But you knew them?
Yes.
So they blocked your car?
Yes. Then Marcus pulls from this street right here, completely blocks me in from going forward.
Now, Mr. is car number D?
Yes.
Did you know Mr.?
Yes.
Had you had any trouble with him?
No.
So he's blocking your car?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So she gets out of the car and starts beating on the hood of my car, telling me to get out.
The girl who was in car number C?
Yes, which is Nikki.
And you never had any words with Nikki? You didn't know why? No, come on.
She had attempted to pull us over before.
Why?
I guess she wanted to fight. Still to this day, I'm not quite sure why.
Why would she want to fight with you if you only knew her by name?
Because my witness, she doesn't like her.
All right, so you had somebody in your car that she didn't like?
Mm-hmm. My witness.
And that's what this is all about?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So she gets out of the car and starts hitting the hood of my car, telling me to get out, that she's going to kick our ass.
Were you frightened?
Not frightened. I just didn't want to fight. I saw no point in it.
Well, were you frightened when Mr. pulled his car up and you were totally blocked in?
Yes, I couldn't go forwards.
So you were very frightened. Were you frightened?
Well, yes, but I mean, because I couldn't go forward, so she gets out of the car, telling me she's going to kick my... I can't go forwards. So I looked in my rearview mirror. I put my car in reverse. Maybe 5 miles an hour. It was slow enough. She was still beating on the hood of my car, telling me to get out.
Who's she?
Nikki.
Who was Nikki? You're pointing to Nikki.
Her witness.
You're Nikki?
I'm Nikki.
Oh, stand up here, young lady. Do you know the plaintiff? Did you know her before this incident happened?
No.
Well, what's all this about with getting out of your car and blocking her car?
I've never blocked her car, and I mean, I was standing on the depot corner. Me and some of my friends were standing on the depot corner, just talking, hanging out, and these girls kept riding by all day, screaming and cussing at us.
That's not true. We just got there.
Telling us they were going to beat us up, and I mean, just acting silly, shooting us birds, and then finally they kept riding by. And me and my friend Erin, the girl I was with, we were fixing to leave, and they come down the road, and so I was trying to stop them. And
How were you trying to stop them?
I was yelling at them, trying to stop them. I never touched their car. They were never blocked in. Nobody ever pulled out in front of them or anything. They were never blocked in.
Sit down. Nikki, there's a reason she went into reverse. She didn't all of a sudden have a lapse in her mind, and instead of going forward, she decided, well, I'm going to ride backwards. People don't do that. So she was clearly frightened about something. Nikki, go ahead.
So I proceed to reverse.
You went into reverse because
Yes.
you were frightened and you wanted to get away from them.
Yes.
And you hit her car.
No, she hit me.
No. Your car number A, right?
Yes.
You
she
hit
did
her.
not proceed to slow down. She instead speeded up. She even said to the police officer that she speeded up. She saw my reverse lights on. She speeded up.
And she tried to get out of the way. Look at the way her car is. Miss.
When you see your reverse lights on, you usually reverse.
No, you don't. You try to get out of the way.
You reverse. I was not that close to her. She sped up to go around me.
She tried to get out of the way. Look at where the damage is. Look, miss. Look at your photograph. Look at it. That is a photograph of somebody who's trying to get away from you. Going that way, trying to get away from you because you're going backwards. If she sped up, she would have hit you straight on. She's trying to get away from you. Duh. Okay. The lesser of the two estimates that you have is $26.16?
Yes.
You have a photograph of the damage?
Yes.
Can I see it, please? Did you have damage to your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sue Nikki?
I tried to file a harassment warrant on her, and
I'm not talking about a harassment warrant. I'm talking about you say that she caused the damage to your car. Did you sue her?
No, not yet.
What are you looking her up for?
I thought she said something.
Oh, she doesn't look like she's going to say a word. You say that this young lady and her friends caused this accident.
Yes, they did.
Well, why wouldn't you sue them?
I just graduated out of high school. I haven't had time yet. I'm going to the I'm in the process.
Well, meanwhile, you take care of the plaintiff's damage. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,616.83. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Regulatory analyst Tanya Edwards is suing her ex-boyfriend, financial analyst Benjamin Douglas, for the cost of furniture. Tanya says she's paying for items that are in his possession.
Miss Edwards, you claim loans to the defendant for some furniture. And what I gather happened is there was a time that you and the defendant were living together. Is that right?
That's correct.
You also have a child together.
That's correct.
And this furniture was some living room furniture and also some furniture for his son from another relationship.
That's correct.
Is that right? Is
No,
that the furniture?
No, ma'am.
What kind of furniture are we talking about, sir?
We're just talking about regular furniture. I have.
Regular furniture, as opposed to irregular furniture.
Well,
what furniture? So, living room furniture was purchased on her credit card,
correct.
and bedroom furniture for your son
Correct.
was purchased on her credit card.
Correct.
I knew I would get it down to simple English so that we could all understand each other. In what month and year was the furniture purchased, madam?
May 2001.
And when did you leave his residence?
I left his residence in January 2001.
You mean you left his residence before you bought the furniture?
That's correct.
Why did you buy it?
Because at that time we were still together, but we decided to live in different households. I purchased my home, and he decided to live at his own home. At his own home.
But you were going to move back together, and you did for a while.
No, we did not. We never moved back then together.
That was our second time being together. We had previously been together, but I was under the impression that this was going to be a joint venture together with the purchase of this furniture.
So she bought the furniture when she wasn't living with you, is that right?
Correct.
On her credit card?
Correct.
Oh, that makes this case so much easier. You had a relationship, you have a child together, she purchased the furniture on her credit card, put it in your house where you were living alone, not with her.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now you're not together anymore, either living together or not living together, but you're not a couple anymore, is that right?
That would be correct.
That's correct.
That would be correct. And who has the furniture?
I do.
And who's paying for the furniture?
I am.
No, 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 no. No, no, no. That doesn't sound fair to me, Mr. Douglas. Under any circumstances that you have the furniture that she's paying for. Does that sound fair to you?
I mean, no, Your Honor, it doesn't sound.
Good. Look how wonderful this is. What an easy case.
I mean, it doesn't sound fair, but at the same time, I don't feel like the primary cost I should be liable for all of the costs.
Who's sitting on the furniture?
I mean, my butt is sitting on furniture.
That's right. Who's sleeping in your son's bed?
My son.
Who should pay for that, her? Every month?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that she's liable for all of the charges. I'm just saying that with the intent of us being together, I was under the impression that it was going to be a joint venture.
But it's not anymore. That's your impression, but it didn't happen, sir. So what you could have done is you could have done several things. Let's say that was your intention. And let's say that was the intention of both of you. But it didn't work out, so that you can sell the furniture and say, look, let's pay off as much as we can on this credit card debt. Let's see if we can pay it off. Or if you want the furniture, you can keep the furniture. You take over the credit card bills. But why should she pay the bills and you have the furniture?
I mean, I was in the assumption, like I said, Your Honor, that it was.
I heard it. Don't repeat yourself.
Really?
I heard it. I mean, doesn't it sound stupid to you? You have the furniture. Your keister is sitting on it watching television. Your son is sleeping on it like a baby. And she's paying the bill. Doesn't that sound ridiculous? It sounds ridiculous to me. Does it sound ridiculous to you?
No.
What?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to Bert. And he might, and I want to tell you something, he doesn't always agree with me. Sometimes he would say, no, you know, the man's got a point.
I mean, you can agree with me. I mean.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,700. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step up.
Creative manager Sally Casey is suing Lisa Kaup and her parents Bob and Adelina Kaup for the cost to fix her son's car.
Stand over there.
You may be seated.
Mrs. Casey, it is your claim that the defendant's daughter, I assume this young lady right here, totaled your son's car.
That's correct.
She was driving the car without permission. You want her parents to be responsible. Her parents say that he shouldn't have let her drive the car, and it's not their responsibility. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like all the parents to sit down for a moment. What's your first name?
Michael.
Stand up on your own 2 feet, Michael. Your name?
Lisa.
You too. Put your hands at your sides. Good. That makes you more vulnerable. I want you to tell me how you got possession of his car. And you look at me, and I want you to make sure of one thing. I don't care what kind of baloney you gave to your parents. I don't care what kind of baloney you gave to your mother. What I'm going to find out is how you got possession of his car. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The school should have notified me. I can't be with her 24/7 watching over her.
But what you're telling me is that you actually believe that position. There is something seriously wrong with you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 17-year-old Michael Casey says schoolmate 16-year-old Lisa Kaup took his car without permission and wrecked it. Lisa says Michael willingly handed her the keys.
Let's go.
Okay. It was March 14, 2002. It was the day before my birthday. And it was fourth period, and my friends didn't want to go to fourth period. We thought it was a lame class. So
I want you to go slowly because I'm old and I can't hear you when you're speaking in 45 speed.
Okay.
It was your birthday. That's where you lost me.
So I had balloons and flowers, the whole nine, because it was the day before my birthday. And my friends didn't want to go to fourth period, so we decided to just go to school, but we didn't want to walk. And I had previously borrowed Mike Casey's car before. He said...
Shh. Go ahead.
So we wanted to borrow someone's car, so we found Mike. And one of my friends...
Who's we?
My friends, me and my two other friends.
Names?
Lisa and Gina.
So you found Mike where?
In the quad of the old school campus.
You were all together?
Yes. We approached him and we asked, Mike, can we borrow your car?
Who asked?
My friend Lisa. And then she said, Mike, can we borrow your car? And he said, go ahead, as long as you put gas in it. So then we took the car, we walked out of school, and we took the car, and we went to my friend Lisa's house. And then we jumped back into the car, and then we were pulling away from the driveway. I looked over my shoulder, but because of the balloons and the flowers that I looked over, and the car must have been in my blind spot. So then I pulled away from the curb real slow, and then the car came up, and the whole other side of the road was open, but the car didn't move out of the way. She just approached forward. And then so we collided and collided, but the left fender of Mike's car hit the front fender of the other woman's car.
Now your version.
All right, I was in...
No, look at me.
Okay.
And I want you to trust me. I don't care what story you gave to your mother. I want you to know that I have a truth machine back here.
All right.
Do you understand?
I understand.
Good.
All right. It was around 12 o'clock, right before lunch, and Lisa, her friend, came up to me. I didn't see this Lisa or her other friend. I don't know what the other friend's name was. But Lisa came up to me and asked me for the keys because I gave her a ride the day before, to school. She said she left a notebook in my car. She took the keys from me. I said, meet me back here in 5 minutes. So I waited for 5 minutes, waited for 20, waited for 30, waited for 40. I was called into the office. I saw them in the back of a police car come up. They said, your car has been totaled. I was like, how has my car been totaled? They said, it's been crashed. I was like, how has it been crashed? They said, well, Lisa Kaup was driving your car and she crashed it. I said, Lisa Kaup? I gave the keys to Lisa in the first place. What's the whole point here?
Let me see a police report.
This one?
Have you in the past let anyone else drive your car?
No. Ever.
That's not true.
Well, my grandpa, the one that gave it to me?
No, I'm not talking about your grandpa. I'm talking about any other of your peers drive your car.
The only person that's ever driven my car other than me, one of my peers, is my friend Vince. That's all.
Excuse me, Your Honor. The first time that I had borrowed his car, we came back to lunch, and one of his friends came up to me, and they're like, what are you doing in Mike's car? And we're like, oh, Mike said the keys are in the ignition, we can take it. He was like, oh, okay, that's cool. He got in the car, and he took off.
Who was
one of
this?
his other friends. Sean.
Sean came up to you and said that?
Yes. He came into the car, and he took off with the car.
Sean took off with the car?
Yes.
How did you get the keys to the car on that date?
We said, oh, can I borrow your car, Mike? And he was like, go ahead. I was like, I don't have my license, I just have my permit. He's like,
How
I
did
don't
you know
mind,
my
the keys
name?
are
I've
in
never
the...
met you. I
I
never met
mentioned
you
I
before
did.
that.
He was like, oh, I don't mind, go ahead, the keys are in the ignition.
Okay. Now,
keys are in the ignition?
Just a minute. Now you can stand up. I tell you this. Even though I have some question about how she got control of that car, you're responsible, because she's responsible. I have some serious questions as to whether, when he just gave her the keys to the car, this other girl who said, go get your things out of the car, I left a notebook there because I was in the car a day before. I'm not so sure. Your daughter has no right to drive a car, right?
Right.
She knows she has no right to be driving a car.
Correct.
She was driving the car in a negligent fashion because she had all of her balloons in the back so she couldn't see what was going on. So what makes you folks think she's not responsible?
Well, she is an unlicensed or permit, has a permit only. And she was given the keys by the boy, and he knew that she didn't have a driver's license. Why would he give the keys to her
Where is
when she
her
don't have a driver's license?
Where is her responsibility?
She should have known. But
So, where is her
I dropped her off
responsibility?
at school. I expect her in school. And if she is tempted by someone else that's unresponsible and not driving the car, or in giving her the keys to drive the car, the school should have notified me. I can't be with her 24/7 watching over her. And it's high school. I mean, she's no little baby.
There is something wrong with you. Unless you're telling me that you're trying to make it a situation better. But if what you're telling me is that you actually believe that position, there is something seriously wrong with you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 17-year-old Michael Casey says schoolmate 16-year-old Lisa Kaup took his car without permission and wrecked it. Lisa says Michael willingly handed her the keys.
She's blamed everybody else but herself. I guess she gets that from you.
No.
It was the other lady who had plenty of room to go around them but didn't. It wasn't the fact that she couldn't see out of the back window because of all the balloons. It was the other lady's fault. It was his fault because he gave her the keys, or the other Lisa the keys, and Lisa gave her the keys. She has a responsibility. And since she has no money, it falls on you.
She shouldn't have been given the keys.
She had no right to take it.
I agree.
Let me ask you this question, sir. Where do you live?
Rosemead,
Where is that?
California.
Have you ever been to Las Vegas?
Yes, ma'am.
You're at the airport waiting to go to Las Vegas. You see a couple of pilots coming out. They're going to get on your plane. One of the pilots says, "Oi, I have such a terrible headache. Mr. Kaup, would you please take the keys to this 747? And would you take the plane and fly it into Las Vegas as a co-pilot, because you need two people in the front cockpit in case something happens to the pilot. Would you do that?"
No.
Why not?
I'm not going to jeopardize my life or other
Right,
people.
because you don't have the wherewithal to fly a plane.
Right.
You've not been properly trained to fly a plane. Even though this pilot gave you the keys and says, "Go start it up and take off."
I would have
You wouldn't
refused
be an
it.
idiot, would you?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't be an idiot. Well, your daughter's an idiot.
She should have known better. I agree.
Right, there we go. Now you get into some responsibility.
She should have said, "No, I don't want the keys," but she didn't.
No, she went and asked for the keys. Don't you understand? He didn't say, even according to her, "Here, I'm going to find Lisa and give her the keys to the car because she's got all these balloons and flowers." They came looking for him, according to her story.
But he could have said no. He didn't have to say yeah. He knew that I didn't have a permit.
I think it's genetic.
I say no. When
You
my other
said-
daughters want to drive,
Right.
I tell them no. She should have been paying attention.
That's it. Now, look, at least I made a convert out of one of you. He didn't do the wrong thing. You did the wrong thing. I want you to repeat after me. I did the wrong thing.
I did the wrong thing.
That's better. That didn't hurt much, did it? Let me see the bill to fix your car.
There's that. There's the impound.
Did you get the car out?
No, it was useless. You couldn't be driven anymore.
You have pictures of this car?
Yes, I do.
Good. How did you deal with the damage to the other car?
I'm pretty sure my insurance company paid for it.
Yes, Your Honor, may I interject here?
Stand up.
Actually, what had happened was I had contacted my insurance company and explained to them that my son had been involved in an accident, and the insurance follows the car. Therefore, my insurance covered the damage to the Lexus as a result of...
The car that was damaged
Correct.
by her. That's a very good insurance
Yes.
company you have. So now I'm going to give you the bad news. I don't believe your story. I believe that you are partially responsible. I think she's more responsible than you are. Your total damages were $1,992, and I am attributing 1/3 of those damages to you. 2/3 to her. That comes to $1,328. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. So you have to understand something. If you're given the keys to a car, and you're given a car to drive, you don't give those keys to anybody, whether they want to get a notebook, whether they want to listen to music, whether they want to do anything. You keep the keys to your car in your pocket, because the only one who's going to suffer out of this whole thing is your mother.
I understand.
Because her insurance is going to go up. She had a lot of aggravation, all because you wanted to be a nice guy. And as far as you're concerned, I have made your father a convert. Your father now understands the word responsibility. I hope that by repeating the phrase that I gave you 100 times in the mirror every night, you will also understand that if you do something wrong, you're supposed to fess up and say, I did it wrong, it was my fault. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
A pretty face only gets you so far, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Monica Jones is suing homemaker Martha Escada for filing false charges of hit and run. Martha says Monica totaled her car.
Order. Come to order. All rise. Now, this is case number 199 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Escada. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
I'm really a little confused with this case, but we're going to make sense of it. Miss Jones, you're suing her because you say she filed false charges against you of hit and run.
Yes.
The hit and run was not against her person, but against a car that she was driving in.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
There was an incident involving the defendant.
Yes, there was.
First, tell me when the incident happened.
The exact day, it was on or about May 1st.
Tell me about it.
I was moving back into my home, and
you were moving back into your home from where?
From a corporate leasing unit.
Okay.
I rented a 26-foot U-Haul truck. I asked the guy to help me move, and he knew the defendant's boyfriend.
Did you know this person?
Not personally, no.
How did you find this person?
Just through verbal acquaintance, just seeing him around town. He's a handyman.
What's his name?
Michael Alexander.
So you asked Michael if he would help you move?
Yes. He then got the two other guys and said, you know, they were good workers and they will also help because I had a lot of furniture.
Okay, so there were going to be 3 men.
3 men.
And you rented the U-Haul?
And I rented the U-Haul.
Where did you pick them up?
I picked them up on 3rd Street East in Lancaster, California at Michael's home.
What happened the second day?
The following day, we had agreed the previous night to meet back at Michael's house early in the morning. I did so. I arrived.
So you, again, went back to Michael's house to pick up the 3 guys?
To pick up the 3 guys. As the one of the guys was walking out, he was arguing with someone in the house. I asked him, was he okay? Did he need to stay back? He said, no, let's go. So all 4 of us got into the truck. I drove off. Went back to the house, unloaded the truck. Later on that day, I was going down Avenue K, headed westbound. He spotted his girlfriend.
Were the 3 men still in the truck?
The 3 men are in the truck. I'm driving down Avenue K, which is a main street. I'm heading westbound. He spotted his girlfriend, which apparently is a defendant.
Had you ever seen her before?
No.
Never laid eyes on her before that day? Go ahead.
And he makes a comment to another guy. He said, oh, there she goes. She's about to turn around. I quickly glanced in my rearview mirror. I didn't really see anything. A few seconds later, she was behind me on my left-hand side, honking her horn and motioning me to pull over.
What kind of car was she in?
A little blue Toyota Tercel, something compact and small.
Now, how is she telling you to pull over?
Honking her horn and motioning like this. And so then I asked the guy, I said, do you want me to pull over? He said, no, she just wants to argue, just keep going. So I did. A few seconds later, she's now on the right side of the truck.
That way she's on the passenger side of the truck.
On the passenger side of the truck. Okay, she just got over. She's doing the same thing. And I asked him again, I said, are you sure? He said, no, keep on, she'll eventually pass. And I said, okay, fine. So I keep driving. She was yelling and screaming.
What was she yelling?
You know, she was yelling profanities at him.
At him, not at you?
Not at me, okay, not at first. When she got closer to the window, though, to where, because it was a long truck, when she got closer to the window, she did call me a B. But prior to that, she was, you know, on the side of the truck yelling and screaming at him, and they flipped it. I don't know, she flipped him off, and then he flipped her back off. So then they had a flipping off match, okay? And so I kept driving, and that was that. I moved all that day, you know, nothing. And the following day, I got a call from the Palmdale Sheriff's Department, said that they wanted to come look at the vehicle because they had been involved in a hit and run.
First of all, who was that guy?
Speak not until I speak to you. So it is your testimony that at no time did you ever hit her, or hit her car?
Whatsoever.
Now, were you ever arrested?
No.
What happened?
The officer came to my house. He took a photograph of me. He told me to wait there at my house, that he was going to take the picture to her. If she verified that it was me, that he was going to come back and arrest me, for me not to go anywhere, to stay home that day. And I did. I was moving anyway. He never came back that day. I didn't hear anything, so I figured, okay, it's all taken care of. About a month later, I get a notice in the mail from the DMV stating that someone has inquired as to my driving record. Then I get a letter from the Sheriff's Department stating that I need to appear in court on charges of a hit and run and property damage. And
Do you have a copy of that letter?
I don't have a copy of the letter, but I was summoned to court.
You have a copy of the summons?
No, this is the court dates, and the days I appeared in court.
Am I correct, Miss Jones, that the trial in this case commenced? Jury was selected.
Yes.
The first witness was called by the people.
Yes.
That was this lady right here.
Yes.
The second witness that was called was her mother. I assume that's you.
Mother-in-law.
You're not her mother, are you?
No.
Then be quiet. Then the matter was adjourned.
Yes.
And when everybody came back, the district attorney moved to dismiss the case.
Yes.
The district attorney moved before you even had an opportunity to put on your case. At the end of their case, the district attorney said, we move to dismiss in the furtherance of justice. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, this report says that they found on your U-Haul a smudge of blue paint that was consistent with the blue paint on the car, her car.
Yes.
Can you explain that to me?
Yes, I can. When she got on the right-hand side of the truck and she was driving and cussing and carrying on, she skinned the side of the truck. At 35 miles an hour, she claimed that I hit her, that she skid and collided with me at 35 miles an hour.
No, I read what she said.
Okay, these are the photos.
I read the exact statement she gave to the police, which contained no information about her boyfriend being in the car, anything like that. As far as her statement to the police was concerned, you were total strangers and you totaled her car, and so may I see the photographs that you have?
In the photographs, you will see her car. The hood of it is dented and the grill is missing, but she admitted in court that that was damage that was done previously, that was not damage caused by the U-Haul. At 35 miles an hour, she wouldn't have had a front.
Okay. Now I'd like to hear you.
On May 1st, I was coming from east side. All of a sudden, I see this U-Haul truck approaching me on the opposite side. She turned to the left. I just put the steering wheel a little bit to the right. That's why she hit the car. I have my pictures right here. On the side, you can see that's when she hit it.
What's your boyfriend's name, or what was his name?
Gino.
Gino. Was Gino in the U-Haul?
No.
Really? She says there was a person driving in the car who you knew. Is that true?
No. I don't know what.
Really?
I don't know
Ms. Jones.
what she's talking about. I don't know who's this guy. No.
You know who that person is?
No. Even when I went to trial, they asked me. I didn't know him.
What about Michael?
Yes, I know. That's the guy I knew.
You have Michael's telephone number?
Yes, I do.
I'll take it.
One.
Now, why do you believe that the district attorney moved to dismiss the case after you and your mother testified?
I don't know.
You have no idea? All right. What's your name, by the way?
Gino.
Gino! You weren't in the U-Haul at that day, were you?
Nope. And I've been with her for 19 months.
Okay. Well, let me go see if I can get in touch with Michael.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want to see this person and to identify me, and I'll do the same thing to him. I am not going to let these people lie. No.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Monica Jones says Martha Escada falsely accused her of hit and run. She claims Martha was trying to pull a scam.
Well, Michael isn't there, but maybe I can get some information from the district attorney. By the way, do you have any photographs of your cars?
Yes, and I have another question. Who's this guy that she's telling you that that guy knew me? I want to see this guy, and I want to see if he's telling the truth. I don't know this guy. I don't know what she's talking about. I mean, bring the guy, tell me to my face that he knew me, and I'll tell to his face that I knew him too.
The question is not whether this guy knew you, madam. The question is whether you pulled up on the side of her truck. There was somebody in the car that you wanted to talk to. She wouldn't pull over, and then you claimed that she hit your vehicle and took off. She says that the U-Haul, it did in fact come in contact with your car, but it was because you were driving like a nut. So
Nope.
I want to see what the district attorney
That
has
is
to say.
not
If
true.
I can find the district attorney's name here, Richard Quinones. Let's see if we can locate him. And you have the paperwork while we're getting, see if we can get the
I have the
number.
police
You have the
report right
paperwork?
here, and I have pictures of my car.
Okay, let me see.
Also wanted to show the character when the police went to serve her. She said they didn't live there, and they do.
They didn't live where?
Initially, when they went to serve her, and she said, "Oh, no one's here by that name. No one
Okay,
lives
about
here."
that.
And then the 10 days, my lost in pay, I brought my pay stub.
Just a second.
Okay.
I have to first find out whether these are false charges.
Okay.
That's what I have to find out.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
I mean, I wish I could get in touch with old Michael. That would make things easy. But since I can't, and you don't know the names of any of the other people.
No, I don't.
Okay. Oh, why don't you have a seat?
Is it okay if I...
Yes, is Mr. Quinones there, please?
Yo estaba discutiendo con ellos y yo me puse a un lado de ella.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. I haven't been able to reach either the district attorney at this hour, nor Mr. Alexander, but I'm going to try. Okay. So I want you to just hang around, and I'll see you back here as soon as we are able to get either one of these two people who should be
I
able
just
to
gave
give.
him a cell phone number.
You have a cell phone number for whom?
Michael Alexander.
Oh, that's perfect. Maybe we can do that. Yes.
When they went to serve me to that address, I moved since December. So I don't live in that address anymore. I live in Lake LA.
It's not important. Why is that important?
Because she said that when they went looking for me at that address, somebody told the police officer that.
And I told her that wasn't important.
Okay.
The only thing that's important to me is whether or not you knew or appeared to have known someone who was driving in the truck with her on that date. And I would be also curious to find out why the district attorney moved on their own motion to dismiss this case after you and your mother testified. So we'll see you back here. Okay. Thank you. Well, I managed to speak to the assistant district attorney who handled the case. And after speaking to the assistant district attorney, he did in fact confirm to me that after the two of you testified, he decided to go out and have a personal look at the car that you say was damaged by the plaintiff. And after he made this personal inspection of the car, he believed that the damages to the car were inconsistent with the testimony that the two of you gave in court before she even had to put on her case. So he doubted your word, especially yours. That's number one. Number two, we were in fact successful in securing Michael Alexander's presence here for the recall. So, Bert, I believe Mr. Alexander is outside. Would you bring him in, please?
Sure thing. Michael Alexander?
Would you swear the witness, please?
Sure thing. Sir, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in the matters before you?
Yes, sir.
State your name for the record.
Michael Alexander.
Mr. Alexander, prior to coming into court just now, did you speak to Miss Jones?
Yes.
Did she tell you the questions that she thought I would be asking you?
No.
Okay. You helped her move sometime in, when was it, May?
Yes.
And you had a couple of other people that you had gotten to help
Yes,
her?
ma'am.
Who were those other people?
Keith and Jose.
Do you know their last names?
No. I met them at labor.
There came a time that Miss Jones came to your house to pick you up.
Yes.
And these two other men were with you in the truck and you moved one day.
Yes.
Do you remember the second day of your move?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember an incident involving this young lady right here?
Yes.
Look at me and tell me what you remember.
Well, I remember that we was traveling down Avenue K after we dropped off her furniture at her house and we was headed back to the storage. And Jose said, that's my girlfriend. And I seen her throw a U-turn.
Jose, put your hand down. Jose said, that's my girlfriend.
Yes.
Where was she when he said, that's my girlfriend?
She was headed east coming down Avenue K.
And what happened next?
She threw a U-turn and she came up on the U-Haul and she was driving all erratic and fast. She was flashing her lights and blowing her horn and doing hand signals up out the window. And
did Jose say anything to her?
He said, well, she asked him, do you want me to pull over? And he said, no, don't stop. She just wanted to argue. And so we kept going.
Did you see Jose after the move? Have you seen him since?
No.
Have not?
No, ma'am.
Is there any question in your mind that this was the young lady in the car?
No.
Look at me. What color car was she driving?
Blue.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any questions for Mr. Alexander, you can ask me and I will ask him.
Okay. Who's this guy, Jose? I don't know nobody by that name, Jose. And I'm not going to let these people get away with it because they're lying. No. I want to see this person and to identify me, and I'll do the same thing to him. I am not going to let these people lie. No.
Ms. Jones, I've been involved in the criminal justice system for a very long time. And I'll tell you right now, very rarely does a district attorney who takes a case to trial, impanels a jury of 12 people, wastes court time, expends time in preparing a case. Very rarely does a district attorney stand up at the end of their case and say, we don't believe our witnesses to the extent that we're moving to dismiss this case because we don't even want it to go any further. I mean, maybe on one hand I can remember that amount of time. This district attorney didn't believe you, didn't believe your mother about what happened. And I don't know who Jose is, but I certainly see the pictures of your car, and I've listened to her testify. I believe her. That's all I have to believe. I believe that you were having some sort of an argument with a guy who was in that U-Haul it, and you were behaving erratically. She wouldn't pull over. You got ticked off. You called, and I believe that there was contact with the U-Haul. There's no question in my mind that there was contact with the U-Haul. It was your fault. And maybe you thought you could make a couple of bucks. No. That's what I think. That's what I think. And the fact that you called the police. Have you ever been incarcerated before, Miss Jones?
No.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an accountant.
I think that not only did you cause her trouble, because I looked at how many times she had to appear in court based upon your phone call to the police that was fraudulent. She had to appear in court. She had to be embarrassed. There's a certain embarrassment about it. When it was your fault and you lied. And she's entitled to what she's asking for, which is $5,000. And I'm entering a judgment for that. $5,000 for the plaintiff. That's all. Step out.
Excused. You may step out.
1-year-old assembly operator Monique Betker is suing the father of her son, 26-year-old machine technician Robbie Schwant, for the return of her furniture and for breaking her nose. Robbie is countersuing for car rims he inherited from his deceased brother.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 206 on the calendar in the matter of Betker versus Swant. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Betker, you and the defendant lived together for a couple of years, well over a year ago.
Yes.
And you have a child together. How old is the child?
Almost 2.
And it is your claim that the defendant owes you for furniture that he has that you believe was either yours or at least both of yours, and for an assault that you say he perpetrated upon you, causing you to have a broken nose and substantial medical bills. Mr. Schwant says that the furniture was his, and he says that you started the fight that resulted in whatever injury you had. As a matter of fact, the charges in that case, he says, were dismissed because you acknowledged to the court that you hit him first, and he is counterclaiming for something about his deceased brother's car rims, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Tell me about this separation in August of 2001.
He got possessive. I switched shifts to second shift, different plant. He accused me of cheating on him. I went out one evening after work with a couple of friends, and I come home the next day because I was too drunk to drive, and the door locks were changed.
Where was your child at the time?
My mother.
Is that when this incident happened that caused you to have a broken nose?
Yes, because I went the next day to receive my belongings, and we started arguing. He kept following me around the apartment. I noticed most of my stuff was broken.
So what happened?
I started packing up my clothes, and he was yelling at me, calling me obscene names, and he called me a word I didn't really like, and I threw a burp rag at him, and he come at me with a
threw a
fist.
what?
A burp rag.
Yeah.
And then he punched me in my nose.
Your Honor, that's...
I'll let you tell the story.
Yes, sir.
And what happened next?
I called the cops. I have a copy of the police report.
Okay. I'd like to take a look at it. Now, can you explain to me why you waited a year? Forget the incident involving your broken nose for a second, or this says bloody nose. You'll show me the bills later. Because I assume you went through a criminal proceeding?
I never actually went to court, Your Honor.
Really?
While I was in jail, the judge had reviewed the case and dropped all charges against me.
Do you have a report on that? Do you have any
No, Your
paperwork on
Honor.
that? How long were you incarcerated?
For 2.5 days.
Okay. What furniture do you claim that he has that belongs to you?
My living room set, my bedroom set, and other small belongings, which
All
I
right,
have
let's
a
start
list.
with living room set and bedroom set. Who bought it?
My mom bought the living room set. I bought the bedroom set.
Is that right?
The living room set, her mother gave both of us
Yeah.
while we were together.
Okay.
The bedroom set she did have before we even got together.
So why didn't you give them back to her?
She took my son, and then over the next 2 months I wasn't able to see my son, so I had no contact with her whatsoever. And then later when I moved out, then she had more than ample time to come get her stuff. I had talked to her, so I ended up putting her stuff in storage at my own expense because I didn't have the heart to just leave it in the apartment and let it be taken.
So where is it now?
They're at my apartment.
Okay. She wants them back.
Well, the problem with that is I was given joint custody for my son.
I don't care. I don't care. The living room set and the bedroom set she wants back. Get it back to her.
Your Honor, she owes me several $1,000s.
For what?
For the tires and rims, for...
Just a minute. We're going to get to your complaints. I'm talking about things, not money. She has to get back the living room set and her bedroom set. They're hers. What else?
There's a list of Beanie Babies, some clothes. I've tried numerous of times to get my stuff back, and he come get it. Oh, don't come get it. Come get it.
Do you
Don't
have her
come-
stuff? Someplace?
I have some of it at my apartment, some of it at my parents' house, and a lot of it I've given back to her already.
Okay. Whatever you have a child together?
Yes.
Do you share custody, I assume?
Yes.
Now, at this point, you share custody. So it's a very good idea to maintain nice relations with her.
I've been
Pleasant.
trying, Your Honor.
Very good. So pack up all the stuff in boxes. Tell her where she should go to pick them up. You live close to your parents?
No.
No. Your Honor, she's had more than enough ample time over the last year. I've told her several times
Listen!
to come get the stuff.
But what are you doing with it?
A lot of it was sitting in storage for 5 months.
Fine,
while
but
she
now
had
it's still
chance to-
there. Mr. Schwantz, I don't understand you, sir. Now it's there. You said you have some of it at your house, you have some of it at
Correct.
your parents' house, right?
Yes.
Get it together and give it back to her. Are you telling me that it's being used?
Yes, it's being used in my home, which I'm providing for my son when I have him half the time.
Mr. Schwant, I want you to understand my words. The bedroom set and the living room set are going back to the plaintiff.
Yes, Your
Do
Honor.
you understand? That is the order.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. As far as the other things are concerned, physical things, put them in boxes, and she's going to pick them up. And I'm going to suggest, Mr. Schwant, that if you don't want to be an immature baby, you put them in boxes, wrap them up nicely, store them nicely, so that you don't have any quarrel with her. Because you have a child who's 2 years old, and for the next 16 years, you're going to have to get along with each other. So don't make a mountain out of a Beanie Baby. Do we understand each other?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Then don't speak anymore. Now, you want to tell me? He says that it wasn't just a throwing of a rag in his face, that you slapped him first. Is that true?
That's false.
Want to tell me what happened?
We had gotten into an argument.
That I know.
Okay. The argument got heated. I called her, and she turned around. She had a rag in her hand and hit me with her hand. And after
The rag in it.
Yes, with the rag. She was holding it in her hand. She hauled off and slapped me across the face.
Slapped you. And what did you do to her?
I turned around and I slapped her back.
Slapped her or punched her?
slapped.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Her mother gave you the living room set.
Gave to both of us, Your Honor.
Didn't make any difference who you were. If she had chosen Bird, she would have still given her a living room set.
And later today,
she said, purchase me 2 tickets, so I did.
For Britney Spears concert.
He didn't tell me it was Indianapolis until he wanted me to pay for them.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Monique Betker says the father of her son, Robbie Schwant, assaulted her, breaking her nose. Robbie says Monique hit him first.
Well, could your slap have caused her a broken nose?
Possibly.
Okay.
I'd never seen any reports of anything,
Well,
no
let me
doctor
see.
bills.
Let me see. Where does it say you had a broken nose?
They couldn't find that paper, but it does say that I had a fractured
It doesn't say. It
nose.
says nose possible fracture. It says headaches, whatever, and it says nose injury, possible fracture. And you declined x-rays, is that right?
I did a couple weeks after that.
You have the results of those x-rays?
No, I don't.
Well, then I can't help you. If you slapped him and he slapped you back, unless I have proof that he overreacted, reports don't indicate that you had any more than a bloody nose. Okay, 5 days. You got the order. Now let's get to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is something about your deceased brother's rims. I'm ready to hear you, Mr. Schwant.
Before my son was born, while she was still pregnant with my son, we purchased together, but in her name, a 97 Ford F-150. My brother, who was deceased now, had some tires and rims that were on his truck that was similar, only a year newer. The truck was going to be repossessed by the bank. The bank wouldn't let us take over the payments on it, so we had these rims that we had nothing to do with. So we put them on the F-150 that me and her had got, with the understanding that if anything happened between us, the rims were to be returned.
Go ahead.
Okay. When she left, she took the truck with her, and I asked for the rims back, and she refused to give them back.
Yes.
And she still refused to give them back up until the time the vehicle was repossessed.
And?
And...
So?
Well, they belonged to me. They were one of the last things that I have of my brother, who died 2 years ago.
You mean it's like a class ring? His rims for his car is like a class ring?
No, but it's a remembrance of my brother, who's deceased now.
That's what I didn't get from your counterclaim, sir, that the rims had sentimental value to you.
Yes, they did, Your Honor.
Mr. Schwant, if you were old enough to make a child, you're supposed to be mature enough to make reasonable judgments. To even come into a courtroom and suggest that tire rims are a sort of sentimental symbol of your brother that she took away when she took your truck, and you want her to somehow, and the truck is repossessed.
Yes.
Right? So that she doesn't have the rims anymore.
Right.
So you want her to give you money, and that somehow will make you feel better, that you'll have the money to look at that will remind you of your brother.
I never wanted any of this back until she brought this upon me. Only thing I wanted...
Just a second! You have her stuff. You have her things.
Yes.
The rims for the car are not yours. You neither purchased them, they were not bequeathed to you.
Yes, they...
No, they weren't. Show me a copy of the will where your brother left you his rims.
He didn't have a will.
All right. They were not bequeathed to you. They were sitting on a car that was going to be repossessed. You put it on a car that was in her name, and she left with the car. Period. End of discussion. This is her furniture. According to you, she came into the relationship with the bedroom set, and her mother gave you the living room set. That's hers. Her
Gave
personal
to both
property.
of us, Your Honor.
Sir, you had nothing to, you were just a thing. Do you understand? She would have given it to her daughter and the person, the other significant person in her daughter's life, irrespective of who that person was. She wanted her daughter to have a living room set to live on. Didn't make any difference who you were. Don't you understand that? Didn't make any difference.
No, I don't understand that, Your
It's
Honor.
very, very easy, sir. If she had chosen, who is this person?
This is my brother. He's here as a witness.
Very good. If she had chosen your brother to have a child and a relationship with instead of you, her mother still would have given her the living room set. That's all I'm saying to you. So it didn't make any difference who you were. If she had chosen Bird, she would have still given her a living room set. Didn't make any difference who you were. Do you get it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. And so, but the bottom line is, what I'm telling you, is that you have a 2-year-old child together. We're talking about things, easily replaceable. She may not have done the right thing, and I'm not saying she did the right thing, because I'm telling you right now, if she leaves her child with her mother and goes out drinking or partying with friends and doesn't come back all night, and you change the locks on the apartment where you're living, that means that she has done an immature, stupid thing. Because when you have a young baby, you don't go out and play all night. You understand?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. You understand. So I'm not saying she's Miss Goody Two-Shoes. You have to
Yes, Your Honor.
understand. But you share custody with her. And if we're talking about things, Beanie Babies, I mean, what a mother of a 2-year-old child wants to do with Beanie Babies, I haven't a clue. I haven't a clue. But you picked her. You have to deal with it. So get her stuff together and give her stuff back to you and stop being a big baby over ribs. As far as the broken nose was concerned, I don't see any proof of a broken nose.
Your Honor.
What?
Can I add some things? As far as me, you mentioned that I was being a baby.
Yeah.
I think I've been more than an adult about this whole thing. I initially took her to court for custody of my son. I've had my child support taken completely out of my check, so I never have to even deal with it. It's always paid up.
Good.
I fought her for over a year to get joint custody, and she still refused to have my name even on the birth certificate.
Okay, so you picked her.
Right, and that was my mistake, but I've got a beautiful son.
You picked her.
Right.
If you picked a baby to have a baby with, if she's acting inappropriately, you're living with your mother?
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes.
Good. Your mother helps you take care of the baby?
She helped when I take the baby to the babysitter, and then she'll pick him up.
When she's not at the bar.
Not smart. The fact that she's at a bar, if she is at a bar, if she does play, if she is not being totally responsible for your son, that's a terrible thing.
It is, Your Honor.
Terrible, terrible, terrible thing. But you have to live with it.
Right.
And if you're going to give her a zinger, what's going to happen is, at some point, she's going to make it difficult for you. You're going to make it difficult for her. Then it's going to be up to some family court judge to make a decision as to where your child goes. And you never know. You may get a good judge, somebody who'll look at the situation and say, listen, parents are equal. Mother, father. He's the more responsible parent. She's a barfly, irresponsible. And I'm going to award this child to the father because that's where the child's best interest would be served. And then again, you may get some idiot, and there are a lot of them out there, who say, well, mothers are still 100% entitled to their child unless they beat them, unless they scald them. Little children always should be raised by their mother. There are still people that feel that way.
Right.
And some of them happen to be judges. So you may not be lucky enough to get somebody who's fair.
Yes, Your Honor.
So what I'm telling you is don't be a fool. Be careful. She's still the mother of your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. That's all. What?
There is one other thing. There's a matter of storage fees for the furniture that I'm giving back to her for 5 months' worth.
What were they?
$372 altogether.
What else did you have in there?
Just her belongings and my son's.
Did you use your son's belongings?
Not at that time. They were.
But you're using them now?
Yes. But I think she should, still be liable for the storage fees. I paid the storage at my expense so she wouldn't lose her furniture, Your Honor.
When did you tell her she could have her furniture?
Off and on throughout the whole year that I had the stuff.
Is that right?
Several times.
Come get it. I'd call him. I'm coming to get it. No, don't bother to come get it because you're not going to get it. I'm not giving you nothing.
That's not correct, Your Honor.
My mother has even asked for it.
You have at best $150. They half the storage because there was other stuff in there that's not property, that is solely hers. You're not talking about a lot of money, Mr. Schwant. Do you understand?
Right.
You understand? You're talking about principle.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm telling you to grow up.
I'm trying, Your Honor.
You're not trying hard enough, sir. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think that she's a gold digger. She used me for what she could get.
I go to the bar maybe once a month, if that.
Left after I caught her cheating on me.
Stay away from men like that.
Stay away from her.
Homemaker Jeanette Troush is suing her neighbor, homemaker Maureen Barton, for verbal assault. Maureen is countersuing for attorney fees she incurred after Jeanette filed false charges.
Order. All rise. This is case number 162 on the calendar in the matter of Troush versus Barton. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats,
All right,
please.
you two ladies used to be friends, neighbors, now you're enemies. Each one of you claim that the other is harassing the other. You also, Ms. Troush, claim that the defendant either stole or took your lawnmower. Ms. Barton says that in addition to the harassment, you filed a complaint against her, criminal complaint, which caused her name to be circulated in the paper, and were you arrested?
Yes, I was, Your Honor.
She was arrested. It was embarrassing, and it was all done out of a vindictiveness. How long have you known each other?
For several years, Your Honor.
Before you became neighbors?
No, we had lived there, and then her and her husband and family moved in.
And you became friends?
Yes.
For years?
Yes.
So what caused the problem?
Well, I decided to break off the friendship.
Why?
She had done numerous things in the past that morally I didn't agree with, and it just led up to a point where one day when I walked up to her door, I heard her and her live-in friend Rita talking about me behind my back, and I just thought that was the last straw.
Okay. When was that?
Somewhere around November of last year.
Okay. Now, Ms. Barton, why do you think that this relationship went sour?
Okay, we were friends for a period of time, and then there was an incident with my neighbor where she called the police and told the police that my neighbor
Who's she?
Jeanette, had told the police that my neighbor had threatened to beat her up. The police came to my door. My daughter and my son were outside playing at the time. My daughter didn't hear him threaten her, and neither did I. I wasn't even outside. Well, the police came and they asked me if I had heard him threaten her. I told the officer, no, I did not, because I wasn't outside. She got upset with me. After the police left...
Well, how did she know that you had had that discussion with the police officer?
She was standing outside. We lived directly across from each other.
What did she say?
After the officer left, I went over there and I was talking to her, and she's like, don't talk to me, and I can't believe that you wouldn't stick up for me. We've been friends for so long. And I told her, Jeanette, I didn't hear him threaten you, and I wasn't going to lie to the officer. Well, your daughter was standing up.
When was that? Was that in November? Was that in November, Ms. Troush?
I don't know when it was, Your Honor. She's talking about my neighbor, Robert.
I have the police report.
Well, let me see the police report. Maybe that'll give
I
us...
have also the newspaper I was in.
I don't need that yet. I'm trying to figure out when all this trouble started and why.
Okay,
and whether the court should be involved with it or you should take care of it yourselves. By
That
somebody
same day,
moving.
she accused him of loosening nuts on her car.
Okay, let me just see the date on it. Oh, well, you say it was November of 2001. This is October of 2001. So it came around the same time.
Yeah.
That's when you stopped being friends.
No,
now,
I don't even know, you know, what she's talking about. I had called the police on that neighbor so many times for playing his music out in front.
well,
That had
this
really
was
nothing
a
to do
nuts
with-
and bolts incident, madam, in
That had
October of
nothing to do with-
2001.
That same night, she put a sign in her window. She made up a sign, and it said, help me, someone is trying to kill me. It was there for 3 days. The co-ops that I live in made her take it down.
So then you became enemies. Now, you say that there's been a problem with a lawnmower and harassment. I'll hear you, Ms. Troush, and you have 60 seconds or less to tell me all about this childishness.
Okay. On March 14th, she was yelling out the window. When I got out of my car, she said the BIT filed a complaint against me. She encouraged people in her home to say things to me like, what a BIT. Again, on Saturday, April 13th, Maureen was yelling out the window to me as I walked from the car to the house. And that's what she usually starts yelling and cursing at me the minute I get out of the car and start walking to the house. And then Tuesday, May 21st, again. And then on Thursday, May 23rd, I just couldn't take it anymore because she said, you're going to be hurting. I'm going to get you. You're going to get yours. You can't watch your car 24 hours a day. You won't get away with filing a false police report.
And this was May?
And that was May 23rd.
Oh, okay.
And I have a police report and a witness. Another neighbor was outside and heard.
Okay. So she's saying not nice things to you.
Right.
You don't get compensated for that. Tell me about the lawnmower.
Well, what happened is right after May 23rd, and I had filed the complaint with the police, the very next weekend...
What did you file a complaint with the police about?
Because she said she's going to get me, and she's going to do something to our car. And
No. Listen to me. Okay. Don't make things up as you go along. You said that she was going to do something to you as a result of you filing a false police report about her.
Right.
When did you file the police report?
I didn't, and she didn't even know I didn't file a police report. I had called the police.
Okay.
I called the police.
When did you call the police? What
I
day?
called the police Tuesday, May 21st. Her and one of her friends was having a fight in our street, and they were yelling back and forth at each other, and it was really early in the morning, I think 2 a.m. And so I called the police, and somebody, the driver of the vehicle, threw a mug and broke it on our street and then peeled out of there. And that's why I had called the police. And that's what she was angry about.
Okay. What report did you make to the police? Can I see the police report? Because she must have
That is not true what she just said. This is what happened because the police came to my house. On the next page, it tells you what they found.
So you filed a police report. You made a complaint on the 21st of May. I want to hear about the lawnmower.
Okay, after I had made the complaint on May 23rd, the very next week, our lawnmower was stolen.
Yes?
And I'm just saying, it seemed pretty coincidental.
Okay. That's it? That's your side?
Well, there's more, Your Honor. I mean, Maureen knows that I'm a cancer patient and that I have a lot of stress already dealing with my cancer, but yet she continually goes outside and verbally just yells at me. She shouts at the top of her lungs all these bad things to me. Here's a statement from my neighbor.
I don't read statements from neighbors.
And my husband was there, and he heard her, and he knows how many times he's come home, and I've told him how she does this to me.
That's not nice. It doesn't come under the category of being actionable in court. She says not nice things to you. Courts don't get involved with that.
And
I certainly don't get involved with that.
We had our lug nuts loosened 3 times. So
you seem to have a lot of trouble with a lot of neighbors.
No, we don't.
Well, you had trouble with this neighbor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I've lived in many neighborhoods and had a lot of neighbors. I have never called the police on a neighbor. Never.
And later today.
Why did you cause this damage to the apartment?
It wasn't intentional damage.
Yes, of course it was. Did somebody drug you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jeanette Troush says neighbor Maureen Barton owes for a stolen lawnmower and for non-stop verbal assaults. Maureen says Jeanette had her falsely arrested.
Now, you said that you called the police on this neighbor several times for loud music, for touching your car, for lug nuts. I mean, that's all in here. So you seem to have problems with a lot of your neighbors.
Only them 2, and it's mostly
Just a
Maureen.
minute. The neighbor that you initially called a police report in on, where the police asked her about the alleged threats, was that this 21-year-old boy or a different neighbor?
It would have been Robert. Yeah.
Not a different neighbor?
No.
Okay.
Robert lives right next to Maureen.
Okay. All right, Ms. Barton, why don't you tell me about your counterclaim?
Okay, June 21st, I was sitting on my porch, and I was with my daughter and my son. Jeanette was getting out of her car with her husband. They were walking, because she lives directly across from me. Okay, as they were walking to their car, I had coughed. Well, Jeanette turned around and she looked at me and she said, "Why don't you shut up?" And I told her, "No, why don't you shut up and leave me alone?" That's when her husband, Joe, turned around and started flipping us the finger.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He was flipping the finger. Okay, they went into the house, and 2 days later, an officer came to my door, and my husband was home. I wasn't. They asked me to come in because they had to ask me some questions. So I went into the police department. I then proceeded to get arrested for a verbal assault that she had claimed that I made against her. She had told the officer that she had a witness that heard me say that I was going to beat her up, I was going to ruin her car, she was going to get hers, which I never made those statements, but she claimed I did. They arrested me. I went to court, and they dropped the charges in court. My name was published in the newspaper for this arrest, for everybody to see. I didn't do none of this stuff to her. And this is ongoing. It's every day. It's like she'll call the police, and if she doesn't get the results she wants, she goes for something bigger. And I just want this to stop.
Your Honor, I'd like to say the same thing. You know,
how many times has the defendant called the police with regard to your actions?
How many times has Maureen called the police on me?
Yes.
Never, I don't think.
Never. How many times have you called the police with regard to her or any other neighbor? More than 5?
Definitely more than 5.
More than 10?
May I?
No, just answer my question. More than 10?
I wouldn't say more than 10, Your Honor.
Would you say 10?
I'd say it's getting close to 10.
All right. How old are you?
35.
35. I am several decades your senior, and I've lived in many neighborhoods and had a lot of neighbors.
Sure.
I have never called the police on a neighbor. Never. Had some I liked, I have some I didn't like, I have some that played music loud, I have some that played music I didn't like loud. I'd never called the police on a neighbor.
I understand.
Well, if you want to live someplace and not be bothered by other people, and if you have certain physical problems and you want to live stress-free, go build a cabin in the country.
I understand that.
Listen to me. Go build a cabin where you have no other neighbors. Police have other things to do other than to respond to your for want of a better word, mishigas, which means your craziness. You got to stop that. Harassment has as its core not somebody saying bad things to a former friend. And I believe her when she says that you were annoyed with her because you had made a complaint against this neighbor. The police came to her, asked her whether she could validate your complaint. She said no, and you got angry. That's exactly how this started. Now, you may have then heard conversations about you, which made you madder, but that's how this problem started. You don't get compensated for that. And this lawnmower baloney that you threw in here, you have no idea who stole your lawnmower a week later? None whatsoever. Why would you even accuse her of doing something when you have absolutely no proof? None. Did you file a formal complaint against her or anyone of her family with regard to the lawnmower?
I did make a report about it, and I did.
You made a report about it. In the police report, did you say that you think you knew who took your lawnmower?
I said it could have been a possibility.
What could have been a possibility?
That my neighbor Maureen, because we were having problems.
That's your problem. You get nothing. However, I believe that filing these charges which caused her arrest were vindictive, and it caused her name to be published in the paper, and it caused an arrest. How many times have you been arrested, Miss Barton? How many times
Twice.
altogether? Twice. For this and what else?
Prior, there was a dispute. It was me and my husband. It was my husband, but then they dropped the charges, and he's the one that...
It was a domestic dispute between you and your husband. Other than the domestic dispute between you and your husband, have you ever been arrested for anything else?
No.
So it's embarrassing. You have children? Judgment on the counterclaim for the defendant in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties
Claim
are
is
excused.
dismissed.
You may step out.
We did so many favors for her, and she just used us until she couldn't use us anymore.
Judge Judy saw through the lies. She saw what was really going on, and it spoke for itself.
16-year-old Angela Veers and her guardian, sales manager Patty Cooper, are suing Angela's adoptive mother, dietary manager Sherry Veers, for money taken from a settlement account.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 103 on the calendar in the matter of Veers, Cooper versus Veers. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Tell me your first name.
Angela?
Angela. Person that you're standing next to is your guardian.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
She is also a relative of yours. Is that right?
Yes.
How is she related to you?
She's my aunt.
And the defendant is your adoptive mother.
Yes.
And she's also related to you in some way, biologically. Tell me about that.
She's my aunt.
She's another aunt.
Yes.
And I gather from reading the complaint that you've lived with a lot of different people. Is that right?
Yes.
And you went to live with and was subsequently adopted by the defendant, your aunt, when you were how old?
14.
How old are you now?
16.
And how long did you live with her in total?
Approximately about a year. Maybe a little less.
And it didn't work out?
No.
And ultimately you came back to live with your other aunt, who is now your guardian?
Yes.
With your permission?
Yes.
This case is about a settlement that you had. When you were a little girl, you were bitten by a dog, and there was a lawsuit and a settlement. How much was that settlement?
Settlement was $9,000.
And there were a couple of withdrawals from that settlement for some small items. Is that right?
Correct.
Way back when you were younger. What were those items?
One, I believe, was going to the dentist or the orthodontist, checking out what damages there was done after things had healed. And then the second time was to pay a back medical bill from when the dog bite happened.
And this lawsuit is about the remainder of that money, which was how much when you adopted her?
It was $9,000 when we went into the bank, got the savings, and put it into our name.
And in the year that she lived with you...
Actually, she lived with me a little bit longer.
How much longer?
We got her when she was 13, and
Okay.
she stayed with us until she was 15. And I went through a divorce, and I was starting to do a little bit of partying and wrong lifestyle for her. So that's when my sister came forward, and so I can get back on my feet again.
Ultimately, you took all of her money and spent it.
But I used it on her.
For what?
For clothes. When my ex and I adopted her, we weren't financially stable ourselves.
Then you shouldn't have adopted her.
Well, I did not want her to go into a foster home or anybody else. We wanted to keep her into our family.
Then you didn't have to adopt her. You could have taken her. You could have become her legal guardian.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, I don't care what you thought about, but when you adopt a child, you assume financial responsibility of the child. You can't take her money. What makes you think you can take her money?
But I understand that. I've been making payments for her dentist because I am reliable. So I've been making $90 monthly payments for her.
You took $9,000 of her money. How much was her dentist?
For her braces and stuff was $4,000.
Okay. Now, you could have left her money in this settlement account, in the minor account where it was, left that money there, and you could have petitioned the court. You say, I need some of this money to pay a dental bill, you know, because she needs orthodontia as a result of it. That's fine. And the court would have given you, in all probability, the ability to take out that money, $4,000. So you got 9, you take away 4, leaves $5,000. Then she would have had $5,000. What'd you spend the rest of the money on?
But we used that to get her school clothes and her accidentals that she needed.
You have to do that yourself. You're her mother. Once you adopt the child, you become her parent. This settlement money is her money. It's her money for her future. It's not your money to spend. Don't you understand that?
Yes.
Then why did you do it?
Because when we adopted her, we thought that money was ours, so we can use that for her.
Well, let me ask you this question. Who had she lived with before?
My sister.
This sister?
Yes.
Okay. And she had $9,000. And how long had she lived with your sister?
Until she was 13.
Fine. Did your sister take out her money?
No.
You knew that. She lived with your sister a long time. And she didn't take out money for clothes or incidentals or anything else. She paid for it.
But at the time, I also was married, and my ex insisted that we do that, and it's hard to say no. I mean, it's
hard to say no. You understood that Angela had lived with your sister most of a substantial portion of her life. She had this settlement money. The money was relatively intact. So all of a sudden, you adopt her. Quick, go to the bank, take out her money, and spend it. That's outrageous. I mean, I don't know what else to say to you, except to say that you're suing for the maximum amount of jurisdiction of this court, which is $5,000. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
You got it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's it.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I know I was in the wrong.
I just hope we can all go back to the way things were before.
I'm just glad it's all done and over with.
All I ever wanted to put things back the way they were.
Good. Oh.
4-year-old student Aladine Guidar is suing his ex-girlfriend, 21-year-old lifeguard Rachel Wall, for unpaid rent and telephone charges. Rachel says she never agreed to pay.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Quiet in the courtroom. Your Honor, this is case number 93 on the calendar in the matter of Guidar versus Wall. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Guidar, it is your claim that the defendant owes you for some rent and a cell phone.
As well as some other charges.
And Ms. Wall says she owes you nothing. She was your girlfriend for a while, is that right?
We were dating. Everything started back in October. We started going out in October of 2001. At the beginning, it wasn't anything very serious.
I don't want to go into the romance, Mr. Guidar. I just want you to tell me, sir. I just want you to tell me, there came a time that she moved into your apartment.
Yes, she did.
Okay.
She moved in on February.
You have to listen to me. I ask questions. I know you want to tell me everything, but I have to do it in a certain order. When did she move into your apartment?
She moved in on February the 15th.
She moved in on February 15th, and this was to be a short-term arrangement because she was waiting for an apartment. Is that right?
Supposedly, she was looking for something.
Tell me about the conversation that you had with her when she moved in, according to you, on February 15th.
Okay, on about February when she decided she was, I think, they had some problems on her old residence. So we agreed, me and her, that she would move in with me and pay half of the rent, which is $500, and I have here the lease.
Just a minute. You're going to get... Just a second.
Also that she was going to go ahead and pay for the bills, half of the bills. And I had every reason to trust her because, I mean, she invited me to go visit her parents. I had a long stay with her over there in Texas, where she's from. You know, great people, great family, and, you know, I had every reason to trust her. So I said, okay. So she was having some financial difficulties, and she said that she was expecting some check, I think some investment check. So I said, okay, pay me at the end. And when time came in where I said it was in the beginning of April, exactly April 10th, and I said, look, you need to pay me for the past 2-month rents and pay me for your phone bills. She said, okay. She started, okay. 2 days later, she said, okay, we're breaking up. I'm moving back to Texas. And what she did was she did transit and move in with Amanda, okay? And from there, she did the same thing with Amanda, and this is my witness exactly, and she did the exact same thing with her. And I have a whole lot of mail right here to prove it.
Mr. Goddard, are you ready for me to ask you questions now?
Oh. Sure.
How long had you been living in this apartment?
I've been living there for over a year.
And were you living there
It's
alone?
a house, actually.
House. And you've been living there alone?
I've been living there with my brother and another roommate.
And how many bedrooms are in this house?
There's 3 bedrooms, but she agreed that she's going to share.
Just answer my questions. 3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms.
You have 1 bedroom?
Yes, I do.
Your brother has 1 bedroom. Is that right?
But me and Rachel were dating.
Listen to me. I don't want you to think, Mr.
dating.
Goddard. Listen to me, Mr. Goddard. I don't want you to think, sir.
She was taking 50% out of my closet, so I think she was sharing my room right there.
Who do you think is smarter, you or me? You think because you're trying to get 1 step ahead of my questions that you're smarter than I am? On your best day, you're not as smart as I am on my worst day. So I want you to pay careful attention to my questions and answer my questions. And you'll answer them truthfully, or else I'll wring you out to dry. Do we understand each other? You have 1 bedroom, correct? Your brother has 1 bedroom, correct? And then there was a 3rd roommate that had a bedroom, correct? That's 3 bedrooms. So it would be fair to say that when Miss Wall moved in with you, she was staying with you in your bedroom. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement.
Good. Wasn't that easy? You see, there might be a chance for us. Now, your share of the rent was how much, Mr. Goddard?
It was $500.
So the rent on the house was $1,500 a month? Is that right?
It was $1,475. I was paying $500 since I was having the largest room.
And you always had the largest room. You didn't just get the largest room when Miss Wall moved in.
Yeah,
with you.
I always did have it.
When Miss Wall moved out in April, did you find someone else to move in?
And no, I didn't.
So you're still in the big bedroom by yourself. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
You see, he's trying to think, Bert, and it's really so interesting to watch the mind. Where is she going and what is she doing? All right. So, before she moved in, you're living in the big bedroom all by yourself, paying $500 a month rent. According to you, she moved in on February 15th. I would like you to show me a piece of mail that she received at your house during the month of February.
I didn't open them.
No. We have postmarks.
Yeah, postmarks, sure.
Take a look at postmarks.
Exactly. That's smart.
Bert, would you help him out to show me where the postmark is?
Yeah. In February, she carried all her mail.
Just listen to me, sir.
She lived there.
Just listen to me. Find me February.
I cannot find February.
Right on.
And the reason for that is because she lived there and she had all the mail when she was living with me in February, which means she kept it with her.
Now find me March.
She lived there in March as well.
March, I know March. She said she lived there.
Yeah.
From March 1st until April 15th.
How can I have a piece of mail of hers for March if she lived there?
Because maybe you kept it. Maybe you kept the envelope.
No, I didn't keep anything
proof.
from her.
Nothing.
She kept everything she had.
Now, is that all her mail?
All the mail that I have.
Shh. Is that all her mail?
Yes, it is.
And that's all her mail? You kept that mail?
Yeah, I kept receiving it.
He wouldn't give it to me.
You kept that mail?
Not.
You want to go to federal prison?
Not true.
Do you want to go
asked...
to federal prison? Keeping her mail? Could I see all that mail, Bert?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Mr. Goddard doesn't want to go to federal prison. While he's gathering up the mail, Miss Wall, you want to tell me when you stayed with Mr. Goddard from whatever date to whatever date, did you share his bed?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you intimate in his bed?
At times.
Were you working at the time?
On
the
and
answer
off.
is not an answer. The answer is people usually know whether they're working. Were you working at the time?
Yes.
What kind of work were you doing? Is not an answer.
Different jobs here and there.
Like what?
I worked security downtown.
What else?
That was mainly it. That was where my income was coming from.
You know you're not telling me the truth, Miss Wall. I'm not going to press you.
I had several different jobs. I'm trying to think what jobs I was at when I was living with him.
To you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He was the one that chose
I didn't
to
ask you
cancel.
anything else. Of course you chose to cancel it, madam. You have a big mouth and you're a liar and you use people for money.
And later today,
One of the people that you had asked for help backed it up into her car, got out, left the car running, and relocked the car.
Yes.
I want you to hum for me the theme from The Twilight Zone.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Aladine Guidar says ex-girlfriend Rachel Wald owes for rent and telephone bills.
You owe people a lot of money.
Yes, ma'am.
How come?
I've been a student, so I haven't been able to work as much as I needed to.
Then you don't rent things from Blockbuster.
That's a lie, sir. Ma'am, she's not. She hasn't been a student, Your Honor. She's been
I've been a
lying to
student
her
at G Boutique.
parents
It's a
that she was a student and she wasn't.
beauty college.
So her parents kept sending her money for rent, and she kept it and kept on with the life. To go out, having drinks,
Would you give this back to Miss
hanging
Wall,
on.
please? These are all of her bills.
And,
Mr. Godard, now I want you to get over the rent. Whether she was there for 6 weeks or 7 weeks, I'm quite frankly not interested. I want you to tell me about the cell phone and the bill for the cell phone.
Okay, on about the month of April, me and her were not being able to get in hold of each other. She was always away. She wasn't able to pay her old cell phone, which I found out only till now. So they got disconnected, and she said she needed a cell phone. We went to the place. We checked out the cell phones. I really trusted her. She was my girlfriend. I cared about her. I really loved her. I've seen, like I said, her family. And, I mean, I've had pretty much every reason to trust the person. I mean, I said,
Except she didn't
why
pay
not?
you any rent, sir.
Exactly. She didn't pay me any rent. She was saying,
So what happened with the cell phone? She got one cell phone disconnected because she didn't pay the bill. She hasn't paid you any rent. So you decided that since you couldn't get together with her, you'd get another cell phone. Is that right? You went to a store?
No, I didn't get her the cell phone. She
What did you
went
do?
there. She tried to get the cell phone herself.
Yeah.
Okay, she applied. She got refused. She said, can you
So she
co-sign for me?
Yeah.
Okay, I said, I had every reason. I didn't know that back then that she owed so much money until now. I didn't know she was like this.
2 weeks later, you threw her out because you asked her for the rent money.
She
hadn't
broke
paid
up
you
with me going, I have my witness, Your Honor. She knows exactly what happened because she moved in with her.
So tell me what happened with the cell phone, sir.
What happened with the cell phone is we got the cell phone. She broke up with me. I said the first thing is, okay, the first thing I want to get taken care of is take over the cell phone. Call your mom, have them take over the bill, which means they're going to co-sign for you again. She said, okay, I will do that. I gave her a month. I contacted her several times.
How much did she rack up on the cell phone?
$344.3 for just regular charges plus $150 of disconnection fee. And here's Your Honor. Here's everything. I
Let
have the
me see
evidence
that.
for it.
Now, Miss Wall, tell me about the cell phone. That's the charge I'm interested in.
Well, it was his idea to get the cell phone. He couldn't get a hold of me. He
Not
was
true,
always
Mama. She
wanting to know
needed a
where I
cell phone
was.
bad.
And
don't
I had
want- just a
canceled my
second.
other phone.
I don't want to hear your voice again until I look in your direction.
I canceled my other cell phone because I had some disagreements with, which is the company that
Oh, give me a break. You owe them money. So they cut you off. Don't give me disagreements. You know, what are you, a con artist? You have bills here, your bills. $344 is your bill, plus a disconnection fee, which I assume he did in order to get his name off this whole account. Who did you expect to pay this bill?
I was going to pay for my bill.
Good. That's fine. That's perfect. But?
It was his idea to cancel, and he was the one that wanted me to get a phone. He pressed the issue and got the phone for me. He used my phone for calls as well. He made some of those calls, not just me.
When you left, did you take the phone?
Yes, I took the phone because I paid for it.
No, you didn't. You didn't pay your bill. You took the phone, and you used the phone, but you didn't pay the bill. Now you have to pay the bill, as well as the disconnect fee, which altogether comes to $499.
He was the one that chose
I didn't
to
ask you
cancel.
anything else. Of course you chose to cancel it, madam. You have a big mouth, and you're a liar, and you use people for money. You lied to me today. I mean, I don't believe him with regard to you're going to pay half the rent. I mean, he lives in a room, one room. He's paid $500 a month rent for the year that he's been living there. He's not out any money. It's not as if he's taking a lease on an apartment. He's got a full-time live-in person who lives with him, shares his bed, and she was there for 6 weeks. And he wants rent? Get a life. All right? Cell phone bill is a different story. Cell phone bill is yours. You use the service. You pay for it.
He would not give me my bill so I could see to pay for it either.
Oh, well, now you're going to get your bills. Now you're going to get your bills. That's easy. Any other bills you claim she owes you, sir?
Yeah, some cell phone that she made, some phone calls that she made all throughout. Calling her
How much?
voicemail, calling. It was comes out to the amount of $30.
Get over it.
All right.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $499. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was involved in a lot of drug usage.
Like the judge says, she was a liar.
Everything escalated into an argument or a fight.
She cheated on me.
I wanted out of this relationship for a reason.
She uses a lot of people, and she's just going through people like underwear, so I don't know.
Pogue and her daughter, 18-year-old student Dana Pogue, are suing Dana's sister, 20-year-old caregiver Nina Hawk, and her husband, 22-year-old inventory specialist John Hawk. Catherine and Dana say the couple owe for babysitting fees, the value of a couch, and money taken from a bank account. The Hawks are countersuing for 3 months of living expenses.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 135 on the calendar in the matter of Pogue versus Hawk. You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Mrs. Pogue, this young lady is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is your other daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're the
Husband.
Let's deal with your daughter's lawsuit first, because I think that might be easier. You are suing your sister because you claim when you were living with her, she had promised to pay you for babysitting.
Yes, ma'am.
And she didn't.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
18.
How old were you when you were living with your sister?
18.
When did you start to live with your sister?
The middle of February.
Why?
I was kicked out of my father's house because I did not get along with my new stepmother. So Nina and her husband said that it would be fine for me to move in with them.
How long had you been living with your father?
I moved in with my father when I was 15.
Prior to that, you had lived with your mother?
Yes.
Why did you leave your mother's house?
Me and my mom didn't really get along at the time.
Now, what was your living arrangement with your sister?
At the beginning, we lived in an apartment, and I had my own room. And then after that, we moved into a bigger house, so I still had my own room.
Okay. Were you paying any expenses?
Yes. Actually, no, I had them under my name. I had the cable under my name and the telephone under my name, but they were paying it.
So you were not paying any expenses in the house?
No, because I was still going to school. And
the answer is you were not. You were 18, but
Yeah.
not paying any expenses in the house.
Yes.
Were you getting any money from your mother and father?
No.
Who was giving you spending money?
My sister.
And how many months did you live with her?
3 months, I think, exactly.
Is that about right?
3.5 months.
So for 3.5 months, you lived while you were legally an adult, 18. You're living with your sister. You're not paying rent. You're not paying for food.
No,
You're You're not paying for transportation. And if you had to go to a movie or something, if you wanted to go to a movie or out with friends.
No,
I paid for it.
I never asked her to pay for it.
Did she ever give you any spending money? I mean, I can't believe that in 3.5 months you didn't say, could I have $5 or could I have $10 or...
Bought her clothes, gave her money. Yes, I gave her $50 one time, $30 another just for spending money, paid for her boutonniere for her prom, bought her pants, bought her a whole outfit, bought her food for a bird. She neglected to tell me the last month her bird was without food and it died. But besides that, I paid it all.
So why would you sue her for babysitting occasionally for her children?
Because it was a verbal agreement that she said she would give me $110 from her financial aid for going to school to watch her daughter.
During the summer, if I worked, and she made me almost lose my job. I had only worked there a week and a half, and she bailed out on me every single time I asked her to babysit during that only week and a half that she lived with me. And
I'm not going to bother with your babysitting claim, so now you can sit down. You should say thank you to your sister and forget it. All right, now let's get to your claim. There came a time when you wanted to use a bank account that was your daughter's, and you put money into a bank account that was in her name and her husband's?
Just my name.
Just your name?
Mm-hmm.
She opened the account for me, Your Honor.
She couldn't get an account anywhere else. It was a favor.
But then, when you moved that account, there was some outstanding checks, I gather, or outstanding debits, and they took part of the balance that belonged to your mother. You acknowledge that?
Yes.
How much did they take that belonged to you?
$134.77, Your Honor.
Okay, well, you are clearly owed that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, she did not give me a chance to pay it, though.
All right, $134.77.
We called twice, Your Honor, and her husband said to me
after
on the
offering
phone,
to make payments.
no, before I even had any chance to say anything else, her husband said to me, quote unquote, take me to court.
Lick my Your Honor.
And that was very
Well,
unbelievable.
Yeah, sure is. Not the way to speak to somebody, sir. I'm just telling you, there's no excuse for that.
She called. She called my mom's house because we didn't have a phone at the time, and told my mom what happened. So I think it was like 4 days later, I called her Colette.
He said, I hear you're going to take me to court.
No, just, please.
Okay.
I said, I hear my mom tells me you're going to sue me for money that was taken out of your account to cover our other account. And she said, yes. And I said, and she wanted the money by the 1st. She said it was part of her rent money. And I said, I don't know if I can give you all that money by the 1st because my rent's also due. And she said that wasn't acceptable. She needed her money and that I was going to stiff her. And I said, well, then you then sue me.
No, I'm telling you, sir, that what you said to her was uncalled for.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, good. Then I don't have to yell at you anymore.
Also, Your Honor, he told me that I couldn't see my granddaughter anymore.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Well, if you weren't smoking pot and drinking alcohol and
just
everything else.
Stop.
Maybe I'd allow you.
Please, I am not getting into this. Let me just take care of the money, please.
Yes.
You want to fight with each other? Do it outside.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor.
Listen to me. Shouldn't say anything else that is going to make any situation worse.
And later today,
they dressed shamelessly and makeup, and they were hellions. We're 9 and 11 going on 17.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Catherine Pogue and her daughter Dana Pogue say Dana's sister, Nina Hawk, and her husband, John, owe for babysitting fees, a couch, and stolen money.
You have some nonsense here about a couch that you say you loaned to your daughter and she sold.
Yes, ma'am.
You sure you want to get into that?
Ma'am, that was the agreement between her and I.
What was the
agreement? I had a pretty good sized house, and I was going to move closer to my job.
Go ahead. What year was this?
The beginning of the year 2000.
All right. You said take one of my couches.
I said take both the sofa and the love seat. Please keep them in your control. If you decide to get rid of them, please, I would like them back. Or if you decide to sell them, this is how much I would like for them, because she said that her friend had expressed an interest in buying them. Come to find out, I asked her about them, and she said, oh, no, Danielle has them in storage. And I said, oh, well, then was Danielle going to buy them? And she said, Danielle already gave me the $350. And I said, well, then why didn't you give it to me? She said, well, I needed to use it at the time. And I said, okay, I understand that, but that was the agreement that you agreed to pay for them.
Go ahead.
This woman talks to me on a
No.
daily basis.
Talk to me about the couches.
She knows exactly what happened. When I was 17, April, she moved out to live with her boyfriend in Vancouver. She left me half the furniture. I've still got the buffet table, the sewing machine, never said anything about payment. I never expected this. I sold it to a friend of mine a year later. I was evicted a week and a half after she moved out because she hadn't paid 4 months' rent.
Okay, when your mother moved, who remained in the house with you?
My boyfriend and his best friend had to move in and help pay expenses.
Just a second. So it was just you and your boyfriend?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty
close. Forget the couches. Judgment for the plaintiff on your claim for $134.77. Let me deal with your counterclaim for a moment.
Okay.
And it will take only a moment.
Okay.
Your sister moved in with you, and your counterclaim is that your mother should pay for the 3 months that your sister lived with you.
She offered to help pay out and never paid a dime to help.
Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, if you did not have what I consider a real contract with your mother, your sister she certainly is under no obligation to pay anything for your sister who had turned 18. So you want to tell me what financial contract you allege with your mother with regard to your sister's support?
Not anything in writing, just verbally that she said she'd help out whenever she could and
Helping out whenever she could is not a contract.
Yeah.
Because she can't. Because she's going to tell you that she can't. All right, so your counterclaim is dismissed, and on your claim you have $134.77. Okay. Listen, I don't know what caused all of this animus all of a sudden, because it sounds to me as if, despite its dysfunctional nature, the family had been working reasonably well.
I love both my daughters dearly, Your Honor.
Well,
Your Honor, may I ask you something?
Who are you?
I talked to Mr.
No, how are you related to these people?
He lives with me, Your Honor. And
yes.
he spoke with John about the money owed.
I'm the other person that was on the account. It was my money also.
Just a second.
I've got
Are
proof
you related to any of these people in any way?
No, Your Honor.
Then I don't want to hear from you.
They tried to say it was his.
Love your show, by the way.
Good. I love your silence.
Your Honor.
Listen to me. Shouldn't say anything else that is going to make any situation worse.
Your Honor, I had no intention of doing that. I would like to tell you that the babysitting thing was, Dana did want to go out and get a job. They told her, no, please, we will pay you for babysitting. That was how that all came about.
Ms. Polk, let me tell you something.
I understand.
If an 18-year-old moves in with a sister and her husband, and there isn't a lot of money floating around, it seems anywhere there's not a lot of money floating around, and it does cost money to have another human being in your house.
Yes.
I am positive that they extended themselves in certain ways financially.
That's probably
in order
true,
to have your daughter, her sister, living with them. Whether it's for a pair of shoes or a pair of sneakers or something for graduation or an outfit or $5 to go to the movies or whatever.
And
there shouldn't have been an issue. There shouldn't even have been an issue with regard to this suit by your daughter.
And I
That's all.
understand that.
So let's not say any more. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $134.77. That's all.
Thank you,
Parties
Your
are
Honor.
excused. You may step out.
They just don't understand that family is family.
I'm really sorry it had to come to this.
Basically, they've run out of people to borrow money from because they burnt all their bridges, and that's what this is really about.
I don't understand what happened.
I called him up, asked him if he wanted to handle it like a man and make payments, and he said no, take me to court.
Silver artist Scott Laverty is suing technical director Shannon Burrows for filing false charges of road rage. Shannon is countersuing for damage to his truck and lost wages.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 223 on the calendar in the matter of Laverty versus Burrows. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Laverty, it is your claim, sir, that the defendant filed false charges against you.
Yes.
False charges in a road rage type incident.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burrows says that the charges he filed were, in fact, true and is counterclaiming for damages that he alleges were caused when you broke or cracked his windshield during this incident. What time of the day did this incident start?
About 12:30.
On what date?
November 20th, 2001.
And what kind of vehicle were you driving, Mr. Laverty?
A 97 Dodge Ram truck.
And you, sir?
A 98 Toyota Tacoma pickup truck.
Where were you going, Mr. Laverty?
I was on my way to the gym.
And you?
On my way to work.
When did you first notice the plaintiff?
A little past the 101-170 interchange.
And where were you in relation to the plaintiff?
I was in the left lane.
Because you were the complainant in this case, right?
Originally in the criminal complaint, yes.
Go ahead.
I was in the left lane of the 101 freeway southbound.
You were in the passing lane?
Correct.
And where was Mr. Laverty?
He came up behind me in the same lane.
So he wanted you to move over so that...
He was flashing his high beams and he was at a pretty high rate of speed.
So he wanted you to move over?
I attempted to oblige.
What do you mean you attempted to oblige?
I turned on my right signal and began to move over into the number 2 lane, at which point he accelerated around me, honking his horn, and pulled back into the number 1 lane of traffic.
Okay, what happened next?
He locked his brakes up in a big cloud of smoke until we were all stopped. Pretty much all the other cars, the freeway came to a stop.
You were able to stop?
I was able to stop and not hit him. As soon as he passed me and pulled back in the lane, I realized I had better slow down, so I began slowing down. He was traveling faster than me and had a much heavier vehicle, so he was quite a bit distance up the road past me.
And everybody else was able to stop too?
Well, at least the 1, 2, and 3 lanes, everybody pretty much stopped, and we kind of looked at each other like, what do we do? At that point, I saw the reverse lights come on in the pickup truck, and he started reversing, which made me pretty nervous. I got eye contact with the cars in the other lane, and I was able to pull off to the shoulder without too much trouble.
What happened next?
He did the same. He pulled over to the far right emergency lane.
Okay. Go ahead.
But quite a ways up, at which point he started reversing up the right emergency shoulder. At that point, I realized that this was not going to dissipate, so I called the CHP.
Okay. And then what happened?
He started getting closer to my vehicle, at which point...
Try looking at me all the time.
Okay. He started getting closer to my vehicle, at which point I saw the brake lights come on. I pulled back into traffic, at which point I was talking to the 911 operator, and I proceeded southbound on the 101, and he finally caught up to me, at which point I really couldn't see him. I could feel the energy, and I heard a pretty loud thud against the side of my truck. He then sped off, and I kind of lost sight of him for a little while. And then when I get off at the exit at Cahuenga, he's there. And I guess the 911 operator said, "Can you see the license plate number?" I said yes. I blurted the license plate number to the operator, at which point Mr. Laverty, got out of his truck with a cat's paw nail prying tool, which I reported to the 911 operator, and then I sped away and pulled back onto the freeway, at which point I was talking to the 911 operator, who said they transferred me to the LAPD at that point, and they told me to go to the Wilcox Hollywood Police Department to fill out the report.
And that's what happened?
Yes. As I was leaving the crossing Cahuenga, I was driving away, and he threw a metal object. I don't know what the metal object was, and I went back to look to see if I could find it, and it was not there. A small silver lug nut or a socket, which hit the windshield and cracked it.
How come you left that out? How come you left it out of your narrative, Mr. Burroughs? It's sort of interesting that that's formed the basis, really, of your complaint against him, and when you told me the whole story, you left that out of the narrative.
Well,
that's interesting.
Well, okay.
Just a minute. All right, Mr. Laverty, now I want you to tell me your version of the events, please.
All right. I was traveling southbound on the 170 freeway, where the 101 interchange is. There was a problem at the Vineland exit. Mr. Burroughs was in that traffic jam. Our lanes on the 170 were completely free. I was doing about 65, 70 miles an hour.
What do you mean, your lanes? You mean the left lane, the passing lane?
Yeah, there's two lanes on the 170 that merge with the 101. I was in the fast lane. To the left of me was a carpool lane. To the right, the slow lane. He crossed the double white lines from a dead stop, crossed over the slow lane, went into the fast lane directly in front of me. I had to slam on my brakes to avoid hitting him. As I'm slamming on my brakes, he starts punching his brake pedal, giving me the bird, yelling in his rearview mirror.
You don't hear him yelling, you just see something, right?
No, I hear him. His window's open. Well, I guess not hear him, but he's looking in the rearview.
Mr. Laverty, I've been around probably longer than you have, and there's a certain common sense. If you're driving 65 miles an hour and somebody is in front of you, you don't hear them if they're yelling at you in their rearview mirror. Do you understand?
I do.
Okay.
I didn't hear him.
You didn't hear him?
I saw him
You
yelling.
saw him mouthing.
That's what I was...
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Anyhow, I tried passing to the right. He cut me off, still hitting his brakes. I tried passing to the left. He sprayed windshield wiper fluid on my car.
How did that happen?
I guess he hit his windshield wiper Billy.
As he was passing you?
No. He's cutting me off to the left. I'm behind him again.
Right.
Then he sprayed the windshield wiper fluid on me.
Maybe his windshield was dirty. Or maybe it was cracked. Who knows? Go ahead.
He's a giggler.
Right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Anyhow, I tried to pass to the right. He threw batteries, or what looked to be batteries, out of his car window at my car. I pulled away from him. He pulled over behind me. I came to a stop. He pulled back into traffic.
Now, you were going to the gym.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is your gym?
On Cole Street.
Cole Street.
Yes.
And what exit do you get off to go to the gym? Cahuenga.
Yeah.
And where do you work?
I work at the Film Institute.
And what exit do you get off at?
I get off at the Vineland, the Argyle.
Argyle.
It's the one right past Cahuenga.
But you got off at Cahuenga.
That's correct.
Don't tell me because anything. You actually followed him off.
That's correct.
The exit.
Can I explain?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't know how his windshield got broken. Crowbar, lug nut, a pair of stockings, a pair of underpants. I don't know what broke his windshield.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Scott Laverty says he had phony assault charges filed against him by Shannon Burroughs. Shannon says Scott is a maniac.
Go ahead.
I turned right at the end of the off-ramp. He appeared out of nowhere, just like a bat at it. Anyway, he just appeared real quick. I saw him in my rearview mirror, revving up to me, hitting his brake, revving up, hitting his brake, like he's going to hit me. So I get to the end of the off-ramp, I turn right, about 20 yards, I pull over, he pulls behind me, then does a U-turn, gets right back on the freeway. That is the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Not the lies, just the story.
Mm-hmm. And after the trial, you were found not guilty.
Of all the counts.
I would like to see what you have of the police report, please.
I have a 911 tape as evidence.
Oh, I'd like to hear the 911 tape.
I'm sure you will.
What?
The actual... Sorry. I won't do it again.
Herb, would you take the 911 tape, please, and bring it up here? Because I can never hear from over there. I assume that that's keyed up to the right place?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it.
You're doing like 100 miles an hour now. I couldn't get it to pay. What's going on? I couldn't smoke. What's your name? My name is Sharon Crow. B-U-R-O-U-G-H-S. Okay, we'll go to broadcast information, okay? Should I try to get it put in here? No, it might be too dangerous. We'll go to broadcast. Don't worry about it. Okay? I've got 5 L8. Okay. And, does it bother you? Yeah, you should be able to just do a quick look at my car. Time? 911, where's that for 659? 5FP, please transfer. Hi. Give me the address where you're calling from or what and what's going on. A guy on the freeway threw several objects in my car, pulled in front of me, slamming on his brakes. I did nothing to provoke him. And, what's the address? It's Hollywood, I would say Vine and Yucca. On the street, sir? Yeah, and he's damaged my vehicle, so I need to follow this up. Okay, sir, did he throw these up if you on the freeway? Oh, it's on the freeway and on the surface street. So he started on the freeway throwing stuff at you? That's right, and he cracked my windshield. Okay, how long ago did he tell me? Of course, it's probably about 10 minutes from... Yeah, it's about 10 minutes ago. I had to literally go through a red light and go around a big U-turn because this guy was throwing crowbars, or what appeared to be a crowbar at my truck, and broke my windshield. Okay, did you want to make a report over the phone? What do you think I should do? I mean, I need to recoup my loss here because I know for a fact that this windshield is about $500.
Mr. Burroughs, you told the police what was happening. You asked the police whether you should follow Mr. Laverty and get his plate number. They tell you not to do that. You decide to do it anyway. So clearly you felt as if you were not in any danger because you did follow him off the freeway. You got off at his exit, came up against him quickly, and while you originally told me that what cracked your windshield was a small lug nut, perhaps you couldn't see it, but a small lug nut, you clearly told the police that what broke your windshield was a crowbar that he had thrown at your car.
That's right.
Which is probably why the case was dismissed against Mr. Lafferty, because your testimony was so inconsistent. You say in your answer, Mr. Burroughs, that he's lucky he got off on a technicality. That's not a technicality. You're the only witness to this event. And when the only witness to this event gives false or inconsistent statements in order to buttress their version of the events, the person who has to decide the case, in that case a criminal case, says, I can't believe him. I can't convict somebody beyond a reasonable doubt with all this inconsistent testimony. Go ahead.
When I had blurted out that it was the crowbar, I was on the 911 call. I was full of adrenaline, and the only thing that I had originally seen in his hand was the cat's paw, which is a small crowbar. But when my blood pressure came down a little bit and I thought about it, I remember seeing a small silver object coming at my truck. That's when I heard the impact. So you're right. I was under duress, and I did say crowbar because that's the only thing I had seen at the time.
You weren't under duress, sir. You both of you guys driving around in your pickups had a little bit too much adrenaline flowing that day. You, Mr. Laverty, were probably going a little too fast.
I was doing about 65. I was going with the flow of traffic.
Oh. And Mr. Burroughs, I don't know, maybe he didn't like the fact that your truck was bigger than his. I have no idea what it was.
I'm sorry, but
I have no idea what it was, Mr. Lafferty, but I want to ask you this question. First of all, I'm dismissing his counterclaim. He's got a counterclaim for his broken windshield. I don't know how his windshield got broken. Crowbar, lug nut, a pair of stockings, a pair of underpants. I don't know what broke his windshield. Clearly, I cannot make a determination that it was anything that came out of your hand or out of your truck. You have a complaint against him. Your complaint is one for really having you falsely arrested. And what I want, you look like relatively reasonable person. Is there anything that you could have done that day to prevent any interaction with Mr. Burrows?
No, I tried. I pulled over to let him pass. I got off on my exit. After he had passed, he was behind me. I did everything I could. The crack on that windshield is a little tiny line. The original Polaroids were the property of the city attorney's office. They handed them to the jury. You literally couldn't see the crack. The picture of the crack in the report you have right there is blown up about 4 or 5 times. Do you think if I threw this at his windshield?
That is not
We're not
all.
done. It's not you.
Oh, okay.
Or even a lug nut that maybe weighs 4 or 5 ounces. There would be an impact point. I threw nothing at his windshield.
Let me tell you something. There is no question in my mind that he acted inappropriately that day. I just wanted to know, from your perspective, was there anything that you could have done? Let's say you were a shy, timid little old lady driving around in a station wagon instead of a big guy driving around in a pickup truck.
All right.
With somebody else in the left lane, they're in the left lane, jockeying for position.
All right.
Is there anything that you think that little old lady could have done to get away from him so that this whole thing wouldn't have happened?
She probably would have had a heart attack.
Mr. Laverty, what I find most persuasive about your arguments are, quite frankly, is you got off at your exit and he didn't. You got off at your exit to go to your gym, to take care of the rest of your business, what you were going to do, and this gentleman here did absolutely nothing but continue the provocation. And quite frankly, I cannot, in my mind's eye, see the 101 freeway, is that what they're talking about here? The 101 freeway, all 3 lanes coming to a complete stop and everybody looking at each other. What do we do now?
We're talking about a pile of smoke. It was a cloud of smoke.
Anti-lock brakes. My brakes don't skid. My wheels don't.
So not true.
Just a second. I cannot imagine, unless every news channel around would have a picture of that, the lanes of traffic on the 101 coming to a complete stop because of some guys playing around in their trucks.
And then I'm going to go backwards with 70-mile-an-hour people coming at me.
Exactly the point why I called 911, because it was obviously someone out of control.
You were.
No, I think Mr. Burrows.
Mr.
Burrows.
Way out of control.
Don't push. Mr. Burrows, I think that from your perspective, you thought that he was driving inappropriately.
I just wanted to get out of his way.
No.
You hopped in my way.
That's just not true.
It is true.
It's just not
Mr.
true.
Laverty,
I mean, you're saying
you
that I
just
was in
lost your
stop
case.
traffic?
I want to tell you something. You just lost your case. You want to know why you lost your case?
How?
Because you have a bad temper. You can't even be quiet when I tell you to be quiet. And you keep saying, I'm sorry. That doesn't cut it. That doesn't cut it. You have to be able to control your temper under all circumstances. He didn't do the right thing. If he's got a broken windshield, he's going to take care of it himself. Now,
Which I did.
Which you did, and he's not going to.
He's not going to have to pay for it.
Oh, he sure is not going to have to pay you for it. But I certainly am not going to issue a judgment in your favor, Mr. Laverty. I think that you both probably acted a little inappropriately that day, and I think that if you had it to do all over again, perhaps you know that you lost a great deal of time defending these charges. He lost a great deal of time being involved with this. Plus, did you work?
Yes, full time.
What kind of work do you do?
I do technical direction.
Full time. And you?
I do voiceover work.
Okay. So you both work. You don't work full time. That I know. You work part time when the jobs come up.
I haven't said whether I do or not. So how would you know that?
If you're doing voiceover work, that usually doesn't mean that it's a 9 to 5 job, Monday through Friday.
I'm still trying to figure out why he interrupted me and I get yelled at.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry.
I am.
I don't understand it.
Very easy. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Client service rep Patty Lynn Moore is suing her ex-boyfriend, forklift repairman Donald Hightower, for an unpaid loan to keep him from foreclosure.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yeah, this is case number 112 on the calendar in the matter of Moore versus Hightower.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Miss Moore, you and the defendant had dated, and according to your complaint, you made loans to him.
Right.
One large loan for his mortgage, and then some small loans for credit card charges. Mr. Hightower indicates that you did pay this money, but there was never a loan agreement and never an agreement to repay you. Is that right, sir?
Yes, sir.
When did you start to date the defendant?
Several months after my son was murdered.
When was that?
March of 2000. Probably about 3 or 4 months after that.
What was the first loan for and when?
In July of 2000, Donald showed me a letter that, well, the mortgage company had wrote, which showed that they were going to foreclose on his house.
I'd like to see the letter. Now, where were you when he showed you that letter?
At his house.
Were you living with him at the time?
No.
I want you to tell me the exact scenario that came about when he showed you this letter.
Can I kind of tell you what led up to this, my frame of mind? Yeah.
No. I don't want to know about your frame of mind. What I want to know about is the conversation, where you were. It's clear if you were dating him, then you liked him.
Right.
Also, based upon what you told me, what happened to your son in March, you were vulnerable, you were feeling slightly depressed. I understand that. However, this is still a situation where we have to deal with whether this was alone or not alone.
Okay.
So I want you to tell me where you were seated in the house, what the conversation was that led up to him showing you this letter.
Okay. I was sitting in the lazy boy chair, and he had all his bills right there, and he showed me the letter.
I mean, he just took this letter and said,
well,
take a look at this?
Everything was sitting right there, and he showed me this letter, because we were talking about how he couldn't, afford to, take me out to dinner, and, he felt bad about it.
It was in that context that he showed you this letter, I can't afford to go out to dinner or whatever because I have all these bills.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I had a lot of money at the time because of the life insurance policy from my son's death. And I felt really bad, because, he has these two wonderful children. One, she has Down syndrome, and she is a sweetheart. She's just so full of life. And I just couldn't see these children, August 4th, they were going to foreclose on the house, and where were they going to go? I felt terrible. And I'm trying to be a fixer-upper. I was trying to help them fix the situation. I know that I get a lot of money back from my taxes just claiming one child. So I knew when he gets his taxes back, he'll get $3,000 or $4,000, probably more than I do. And in order for me to negotiate with this Equicorp, place, I called, them up and I said, well, what can we do to get this, straightened out? And they said, well, this amount of money needs to be mailed. So in order to, get him above water, I went and paid $4,500 towards it.
You have proof of that?
Yes, I do. This is a copy of the money order and the original.
Okay. Now after that, what did he say to you?
I'm trying to remember. This was a couple of years ago.
Well, you have to remember.
Your Honor, may I answer that?
No, not yet.
Well, he told me that he had other bills, and that wasn't really going to get him out of, hot water, because he was behind on all these credit cards. He had the banks, calling him constantly. He didn't like to answer the phone because of that. He said, well, I can't pay you back right away. And I said, I know. I said, I don't need the money right now. I have the money right now. I said, but, when you get your taxes back, just go ahead, and give me some money. And you don't have to give me the whole thing. I said, the next year, which was this year right here, give me the rest of the money, and that'll be that. And I said, you don't even have to pay me back the whole thing. It was over $7,000 is what it was. And I said, well, if you'll just make sure you pay me, I'll accept the $4,000.
So you agreed that he would pay you back $4,000?
Not at that time. This was later.
So at that time you didn't talk about him repaying you the money?
Oh, we did. We did, with his taxes, but we didn't negotiate a figure.
Okay. Well, when did you negotiate a figure?
February. I had wrote a letter to him, February 5th, which is right about tax time.
Could I see the letter, please?
And I was like, something was better than nothing.
Would you show this letter to the defendant, please? You recall receiving that letter, Mr. Hightower?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Good, thank you. When you received that letter, Mr. Hightower, what did you do?
I read it.
And after you read it, what did you do with it?
Tore it up and threw it in the trash.
Why?
Because when she did this, I told her not to do it because at the time, I was going through the separation divorce, also going through a custody hearing. I told her that I not know when I'd ever be able to pay her back.
Are you still living in the house that she...
No, ma'am.
Who got the house?
It's been put on a lot for sale now. I moved out the end of February of this year.
Why?
They foreclosed on it in December.
How many months did you live there after summer of 2000?
I moved out of it February of 2002 of this year.
Oh, so her money helped you stay in that home?
I guess, but also too my
What
lawyer.
do you mean you guess?
My lawyer also helped. My attorney knew what was going on.
You had a lawyer?
helped me. Yes, ma'am. When I was going
Lawyer
through
for the custody case?
custody,
And the
separation, and
divorce?
divorce, yes.
Did you pay your lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you pay your lawyer?
$1,500.
Do you still owe your lawyer?
No, ma'am.
So you took this letter and you threw it in the garbage?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot of nerve. You mean you didn't even answer her?
Ma'am, also, too, you got to realize a lot of things going on with her. One time she broke in my house just to show her brother my home through the kitchen and come back bragging about it.
So what?
The next time she went through my mail, took a credit card out of my mailbox.
Stop complaining. I'm asking you a question, sir. You get this letter, you don't respond to it, you take it and you throw it in the garbage. And then what you do is you justify those actions by little petty irritations. I'm asking you, if you couldn't give her back any money, and she clearly expected money over a year ago, why didn't you call her or write her a letter and say, I'm really suffering financially right now?
She knew I was.
How did she know?
She knew how I was.
What do you mean she knew? Were you in communication with her?
She knew that I was trying to raise 2 kids by myself.
Did you get custody of your children?
Yes, ma'am.
Then I suggest that you try to teach your children, Mr. Hightower, what being a person of good character is. You know, just because you're a warm body doesn't mean you're a father. Anything can be a father. Dogs are fathers, cats are fathers, fish are fathers. In order to be a father, a human being father, you're supposed to try to teach your children to have a good moral character. Somebody was nice to you. And what you do is you take the letter, you throw it in the garbage without even a response? Huh?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You think there's a difference between going through a separation and a divorce and having one of your children suddenly taken from you?
Both of them are very emotional.
One you can cure, one you can't.
And later today,
I was not that close to her. She sped up to go around me.
She's trying to get away from you. If she sped up, she would have hit you straight on. Duh.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Patty Lynn Moore says ex-boyfriend Donald Hightower owes for a loan to keep his home out of foreclosure. Donald says he told Patty Lynn he could never pay her back.
After you loaned him this money, Ms. Moore, how long after that did you stop seeing him socially?
Almost immediately.
And who terminated the relationship?
He did.
Tell me about it.
He didn't see that there was any, he didn't think that we would be able to have a relationship at the time. I was drinking some at the time. No excuse, but...
That's honest.
Alcohol is no place in any relationship, nor is it in anybody's life. It's like a disease. It just ruins.
Are you okay now?
Yeah, as far as the drinking, like I said, just bringing up this emotional stuff, I don't think, you don't ever get over the grieving, I mean, you deal with it, through grievance counseling, but you don't never get over the loss of a child. And I just...
How old was your son?
22. I got the newspaper article.
Mr. Hightower.
Yes, ma'am.
How many children did Miss Moore have?
She had her daughter and her son that she told me about.
And she told you about the son as soon as you met her?
Yes, ma'am.
So you knew that shortly before this business with your home, she had suffered a loss and she had some money.
I didn't know she had any money. I never asked her.
Fine. So let's say you didn't know she had any money, but you knew she had suffered a loss.
Yes, ma'am, and I was sorry that happened.
And you were going through a great deal of turmoil in your life.
Yes, ma'am.
But none of your children died.
No, ma'am.
You think there's a difference between going through a separation and a divorce and having one of your children suddenly taken from you? You think there's a difference? You think there's a difference?
Both of them are very emotional.
Yeah. One you can cure, one you can't. And what I find most obnoxious about your behavior, sir, is that you didn't even bother to respond to this letter. You read it, you tore it up, and you threw it in the garbage because you were going through a great deal of stuff on your own. That's what you told me. Good character is what you're supposed to teach your children. If you don't have it, and they don't give classes for it, can't read a book on it, at least once in a while somebody is going to tell you when you have lousy character. You understand each other? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,400. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She wants everybody to play her on her sympathy.
There's nothing in this world worse than losing a child.
She's just trying to rule people's lives with her own.
I have the right to grieve.
She was just trying to steal my identity.
I don't think he has any identity.
I best just get rid of him, get on with my life.
When a loser is a loser, you're a loser. Why would I want to take the identity of a loser?
And now the next case. Assistant Charvette Cross is suing her former friend, maintenance man Devin Davis, for vandalizing her car and for an assault.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 128 on the calendar, the matter of Cross versus Davis.
Thanks, Mark.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Cross, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours, and it is your claim that after some disagreement last New Year's Eve, he vandalized your car and later assaulted you. Mr. Davis says he did neither. So you had been his girlfriend for a while. You went to a party.
I was never his girlfriend. We were just friends.
You went to a party together?
Yes.
New Year's Eve?
Yes.
According to you, you were dancing with somebody else and he got annoyed?
Yes.
So take it from there.
All right. We went together as friends. I started dancing with someone else. 2 minutes into the dancing, he came up and pulled me on my arm and said he needed to talk to me. I told him I would talk to him when I was done dancing. He continued to stand there. Once I did finish dancing, I asked him what did he want, and he told me why was I here dancing with someone else, and that's when I told him, why would you ask me that? We're just here as friends. You're not my boyfriend, and I can do what I want to do. And he kind of shoved me and he walked away. I didn't see him anymore that night at the club. I left about an hour and a half later. When I did arrive in front of Devin's building, I noticed he was...
You went back to his building. Why?
Because my van was parked there. I left it there and we got a cab because I didn't want to be drinking and driving.
So you went back to his place to pick up your car?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And that's when I noticed he was outside in front of it. And as we pulled up, the lights, when it shined on the vehicle, it's when he ran into his building. And that's when I noticed that the tires were slashed, the first thing I noticed, and the windows were busted. And I ran into the building after him.
Okay. So when you got up to the building, you saw him standing near your car, near your van.
When we were pulling up.
You saw him standing near your van?
Yes.
You didn't see him doing anything to your car?
Well, he was motioning. I couldn't exactly see.
You didn't see him doing it? Just answer my question.
No.
Right. And then you saw him run into the building?
Yes.
Next.
And that's when my witness, she got out of the car because I couldn't get in the building, and I was buzzing and bamming, and then finally a neighbor walked out of the building, and that's how I got in. But there was another door that I couldn't get through, so I stood there and I buzzed his buzzer, and that's when I noticed the defendant looking up from the basement through the windows, and finally someone else did come out, and that's how I got in, and I confronted him then.
Where did you go to confront him?
Right inside the entrance of the doorway. It's in the hall.
Go ahead.
I asked him, why did you do that to my vehicle? And he didn't answer me. I grabbed his shirt, and he kind of pushed me and told me not to touch him, and I continued to grab his shirt, and it's when he swung, and he hit me, and I hit him back.
When did you get him in a headlock?
When we were in the altercation.
Just a minute. According to your complaint, madam, he pushed you, you pushed him.
Yes.
That's what you say. You have to get your story straight. And then you say at some point you got him in a headlock.
Yes.
And what happened when you got him in a headlock?
I punched him. I punched him in the face.
Yeah. So, and then what happened?
And that's when my witness came up and she kind of broke it up.
So why are you suing him for assault?
Because he hit me first. I only grabbed his shirt.
That's touching him. You can't grab his shirt.
Okay.
I mean, okay. You grabbed him. He, according to you, pushed you away. You grabbed his shirt again.
Yes.
Why?
Because I wanted to know why he did that to my vehicle.
Why didn't you just go call the police?
I did.
Why didn't you call the police first before you put your hands on him?
I was upset.
Sure. Can't sue him for assault. You touched him first. Got him in a headlock and then punched him in the face. Then he hit you back. If he did it at all, he says he didn't do anything. Is this your witness?
Yes, it is.
Step up here. Tell me your name.
Kanaiza Mutiva.
You were with her when you got home from the club?
Yes.
You didn't see him doing anything to the car?
I saw a shadow of someone running towards the building, but I didn't know. We actually met at the club, she and I did. So when we pulled up, I didn't know whose house we were in front of. We just pulled up, someone ran, and she ran out of the car.
When you say you saw someone, it was a person that you could not identify. You couldn't see their face?
It was like 1:30 in the morning. It was a male.
So you couldn't see their face?
No.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Could you see what they were wearing? Or was it too dark?
It was very dark, but I also didn't know that there was anything wrong at the time when I saw someone
That's not
running.
what I'm asking. I'm asking
It was dark, and I didn't see what they were wearing.
And you were in the car with the plaintiff?
Yes.
How is it that your witness couldn't see the face of the person and you could?
Because I was looking at my vehicle as we were coming up. I was paying attention to my vehicle because that's where we were going to.
I was also in the back seat of the car.
All right, Mr. Davis, now you tell me your version of these events, sir.
Well,
Me and Charvette went out to a club called The Zone. She asked me to use my cell phone. That's how everything else happened. I was talking to a friend. I gave her my cell phone. Then later on, I asked for my cell phone. I forgot that I gave it to her. That's when I seen her dance on the floor with the two guys and my phone. So I pulled her to the side, asked her for my phone back, asked her what she was doing. She's supposed to be with me. She said that we were just dating, not my boyfriend. So I got my cell phone back. So I went to another part of the club, and she went her way. And I went home. But before I went home, it took about maybe half an hour just to get a cab, and I wasn't able to get one right away. So I went home, changed my clothes, because everybody wanted to know how was the evening.
You went home because the evening was over?
Right. It was like 2 in the morning when everything shut down.
Oh, so what'd you change your clothes for?
I was done. It was time to go home.
Why did you change your clothes? It was done, time to go home. Why do you go home and change it? You put on your pajamas? Into what did you change? Did you put on your jammies? Did you put on a new pair of jeans? What did you put on?
I just put on regular clothes.
Where were you going?
What happened was that when I went home, I changed my clothes. I went downstairs in my apartment building because everyone wanted to know how was the evening.
So you were going to meet up with some other people?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
As I went downstairs to tell my friend what happened, there were some police officers there. So they told me, go back. So I went back to my apartment. And then when I went to my apartment, there was some police officers driving in the parking lot, shining their lights. I went to the manager, asked him what was going on. He was saying something about someone was damaging their vehicle.
And you didn't know anything about that?
No.
Were you arrested?
No.
Did you file a police report?
Yes, I did.
Can I see it, please? Is this the only report that you have?
Yes, it is. They said that because it was not an emergency and because it was the New Year's, that they could not dispatch another one out. I would have to wait 2 hours, and I live in another city, and there was nowhere for me to wait.
So you did not wait until the police arrived. Is that right?
No.
You did not wait. So when it says here, victim states that when she confronted the suspect about the damage, he hit her, causing a split lip and a bruise to her face. That's something you reported over the telephone.
Yes, it is.
You have photographs?
I have photographs of my vehicle, yes.
I'm not interested in your car. I'm interested in your face.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I also did have to get a harassment order because the defendant continued to call me the next day as if nothing ever happened. He called and said, "What's up? What are you doing?"
Hey, you use any drugs at this club that you went to?
And later today.
What kind of furniture are we talking about, sir?
We're just talking about regular furniture I have.
Regular furniture, as opposed to irregular furniture.
Well,
what furniture?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Charvette Cross says, after an argument at a club, former friend Devin Davis vandalized her car and assaulted her. Devin says Charvette punched him first.
Mr. Cross, I'm not satisfied with your story. Doesn't make sense to me that someone is assaulted, has their face bashed in, has their car totaled, slashing all 4 tires, breaking all 4 windows, breaking the rear view mirror, interior lights, breaking headlights, ripping off the bug visor, and slashing the upholstery. Doesn't wait for the police to arrive, especially if she can identify the perpetrator. So I'm not going to make that judgment now. That's what you do. You wait for the police to arrive. Police take a statement, they take his statement, they take witnesses' statements, they render a police report. That's of some help to me. He says he didn't do it. She says she couldn't see who was standing there.
Your Honor, when we was inside the building and after she broke up the fight and I asked him why did he do it, she was standing there and she can witness to what he said.
Oh, well, I'm waiting to hear that. What did he say?
He admitted that he did it.
No. What did he say?
He said that he did it. He said he was sorry he did it. He never explained why he did it.
Now I come back to you. So far, this witness has been honest with me. The witness has said to me, I couldn't see who the person was who was standing outside. She didn't lie. She said it was dark. Couldn't see their clothing. I couldn't see their face. That's honest. She could have just as easily said to me, I saw it was him, right?
True.
Then why do you think she would lie to me now when she says that you did it, you would acknowledge that you did it, and said you were sorry? Why do you think she would lie about that?
Well, first of all, I ain't doing anything. And I don't know why she said that.
No, I'm asking you, why do you think she would lie about one thing and not another?
I have no idea.
Don't?
No.
And you never got into a physical altercation with Miss Cross at all that evening? Physical?
No, not really physical, no.
What do you mean not really physical? What does that mean, not really physical?
When she came in and pushed my buzzer, I wasn't able to buzz her in because it was broken, so I had to come downstairs. When I come downstairs, I spoke to Chavette through the glass door because she was angry. Are you what? I said, what's going on? That's when she came out the car. So I'm still behind the glass. I didn't go nowhere. I was like, what is you talking about? Well, I know you did this. I know you did that. I said, no, not me. And that's when she swung at me. Because both of them left. They left the premises, went back toward the car. Took off.
Now I'll look at the damage to your car.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Sure.
First of all, he wasn't truthful. His friend was never with us, and I never used his cell phone when we were at the club. Another thing, he just stated that I swung at him, but he was behind the glass door. Why would I swing at a glass door that's closed?
I gotcha. I want you to think very hard, madam, about what he said to you about the damage to the car.
I remember him saying that he felt bad that he did it. I was waiting for a why, and that's all I ever heard her say. I'd also like to say that the only reason I went in the building was because I saw the struggle. He wasn't behind a door. They were struggling, and I ran in there.
Okay, let me see the estimate to fix this van.
May I say something else, Your Honor? At the time that the car was damaged, I still had Christmas gifts in there, and nothing was taken out of it. Brand new bikes and presents, and nothing was stolen.
And it's not a very nice neighborhood.
I also did have to get a harassment order because the defendant continued to call me the next day as if nothing ever happened.
What did he say when he called you?
Well, he called and said, "What's up? What are you doing?" As if nothing had ever happened the night before, which I found very, very strange. And I told him, don't call me anymore. Are you going to pay for my vehicle? He said, well, I'll pay for half because I do feel bad about it. And that's when I said, that's not okay with me. I didn't do half the damage. I don't feel that you should only pay for half.
They use any drugs at this club that you went to?
No, but we did smoke marijuana before we went.
What about him?
Yeah, he did.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,732. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I told him we were only friends, and obviously he wanted more than that.
They didn't see me do it. I walked nowhere around.
He totally lied.
Nursing student Billy King is suing her former live-in boyfriend, machinist Tim Palmer, for damages to her home as the result of an assault. Billy also claims Tim put flour in the gas tank of her car.
Order. Come to order. All rise. Hello. Thank you. Your Honor, this is case number 230 on the calendar in the matter of King versus Palmer. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Ms. King, you and the defendant lived together for a period of time. You've claimed two things. First, that he damaged your home while he was in a rage. And second, that he caused some damage to your car when he put some stuff in the gas tank.
Yes.
How long were you a couple?
It was about 2 months before we decided to move in together.
And how long did you actually live together?
About 2.5 months.
Did you move into his house, or did he move into yours, or did you take a place together?
We actually moved into a place together.
So you moved in together, and what happened on the night in question, which was?
November 21st.
What year?
Of last year, 2001.
Okay, go ahead.
It started out with him, he went to Pool League that night.
He went what?
To Pool League. He was on a pool team. And he had come home a little later than usual. I was already in bed. And I got up and was asking him, what had taken so long. Usually he came directly home.
What time did he get home?
It was probably around 12:30, 1 o'clock.
And what time had he usually come home?
Around 11.
You didn't just ask him. Let's be honest.
Oh, I was a little angry, but at the same time, we had a pretty open relationship as far as he had his life, I had my life.
Okay, so you were angry?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
And he got very defensive immediately. And he was sitting on the couch, and we were actually arguing back and forth. And he stood up really fast and grabbed the coffee table and threw it end over end, and it shattered everywhere. It was a mirror coffee table. And just completely went on a rage from there. He grabbed the the leg from the coffee table, threw it through the TV. I immediately ran to the bedroom and tried to shut the door. He was right behind me. He slammed the door open so hard that the hook on the back of the door actually went into the wall. That's when it started to get physical. There was a knife about this long that was hanging on the wall next to our bedroom door, and he was threatening to pop the waterbed. And I was screaming, I can't afford that kind of damage, you know that. And he started pointing the knife at me. He stabbed it through the bedroom door. It went through the door into the wall. He threw the knife at me. It landed right next to my head, and there was actually a perfect imprint of the knife in the wall. You could see the handle, the knife itself. He turned around and got very aggressive with me and put his hands around my neck. That's when I started kind of flailing, and I punched him in the side of the head. He carried me across the room by my neck, threw me through the door, and I landed on the linen closet, which was right outside of the bedroom wall. He put his fist through the wall. I ran into the kitchen. I picked up the phone. I dialed 911. He was right on top of me, grabbed the phone from me and hung it up and started screaming at me, you're going to call the police. You're going to call the police on me. You know I have a warrant. Grabbed the phone from me, threw it on the ground. It shattered. He put his hand through the back screen wall, which is when he cut himself. Immediately started bleeding all over the place. I ran back into the bedroom trying to get away from him. He followed me in the bedroom. We went outside because my children were home. I had a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that were hiding in their bedroom. So I went outside, locked myself in the car, assuming that the police would be on their way because I dialed 911. He was in my face in the car. I ran back inside trying to lock him out, and he took off after that. Hid in the bushes for about 3 hours. They looked for him with K9 and took pictures of my house, and I actually have the police report.
I'd like to take a look at the police report and the photos if you have them.
I was not able to get the photographs from the police department, but I also have a copy of the security and cleaning and the damage deposit from my landlord. I've moved out of the house, and they had obviously tons of damage to fix the house. Here's a breakdown of what everything cost, not including what I fixed myself.
Go ahead.
I have a slightly different version, Your Honor.
So did she when the police came that night.
I came home that Tuesday night from pool league. It was a little bit later. I'd stayed and shot pool with my friends after league ended. Before I'd even made it to the door, she came out the door screaming at me, where you been, just going off on me. I came in for about 10 minutes of that screaming. As I was getting ready for bed, I called her an explicit name. Look, you dumb. Could I just please go to bed? I got to work in the morning. That's when I got punched in the head twice. And after that is when I started to tear the house
That's what she forgot to tell me. That's in the police report, that she told the police, that she hit you first.
That's when I started to...
Yeah, how come you forgot? You told me about all the things that happened, the coffee table and the glass and everything else. How come you left out the fact that after he called you a name, which was not a nice thing, you punched him in the forehead?
No, that's actually incorrect. I did punch him.
Behind the ear, Your Honor.
I did punch him. That was when he had his hands around my neck.
No.
When I
No.
Your Honor, when I pushed
No.
him,
That's not what you told the police.
I pushed him on the forehead. There was actually a prior incident with another girlfriend, and he had called her the same name, and she had smacked him on the forehead with a frying pan for calling him that name.
Listen to me.
I did push him in the forehead. He was sitting on the couch. I forgot to, I don't remember a lot of things from that night simply because...
Well, you remembered a lot of detail you told me before, but the one thing you didn't remember was that the first person to use any physical force was you.
Yeah, but...
The first person that put hands on was you.
It was...
And his reaction to putting hands on was to deal with furniture, not to deal with you. He threw over the furniture, he put his hand through a wall, he got angry.
He also...
Speak not.
Okay.
Go.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Just a minute, there's a fly in here. It's irritating me. If I had the proper equipment, I could have done it. Bird, don't be frightened.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Billy King says former live-in boyfriend Tim Palmer destroyed her apartment and then beat her up in a fit of rage. Tim says Billy started it by punching him in the forehead.
Okay, go ahead.
It escalated from there, and I did tear the house up a little bit.
You did?
I've got a copy of the damages here. I highlighted the ones that I caused.
Okay, so did you pay for the ones that you caused?
No, I just replaced the TV of hers that I broke the very next day with the phone that I allegedly smashed on the ground.
Just a minute, you replaced the TV how, sir?
I took the broken one out and put one in there that worked.
Who has that TV now?
She does.
Is that right?
No.
Just a minute, there's a fly in here. It's irritating me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And then that was on November 21st. We stayed together for another month after that. I went to...
Just a minute. Don't get me off the track. This
Oh, I'm
fly
sorry.
isn't getting me off the track. I want to know where the TV is. He said he bought a new TV. I absolutely believe him that he replaced the TV.
He actually didn't buy a TV. His best friends were our neighbors, and they had a broken TV that they were keeping in the garage. It took 20 minutes for it to warm up, and they allowed me to borrow that TV. And when I offered to give it back, they told me to throw it away.
I gave him $50 and a $100 cordless phone for that TV. It was not broken.
You watched TV afterwards on a TV after this incident when you stayed together and tried to patch things up. Hold on a second.
Yes. Good job.
Go ahead.
If
If I had the proper equipment, I could have done it.
For a month after that, we were together. I went to see my father over Christmas, and she had a problem with that. Cashed one of my unemployment checks while I was gone, signed my name to it, and cashed it at her place of business. Then New Year's Eve, she took off at 11:15, got back at 4 in the morning. I left when she got home because her
Sounds
kids
as if
were
it
there.
wasn't a marriage made in heaven. Listen to me. How much of the damage did you cause?
$135, Your Honor.
And how much are you being billed,
Oh, excuse me?
Miss King?
$2,100 and 20.
Let me see.
I'm also liable for half of the re-rent fee and advertising.
And how much is that?
That's $275 and $21 are the two totals on that.
I'd also like to point out that we were not working it out after that.
I don't care whether you were or you weren't. I want to see what the landlord lists as damage.
They're the same thing. Mine are just highlighted what I caused.
We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. You fly.
Was also rent?
I moved out in January. She moved out in July.
Was your rent up to date at that time?
Yes, it was.
No,
that late
it was
charge
not.
was.
What about the security deposit?
We split that.
I paid the $500 security deposit, which in turn takes care of the $725 that I owed in the back rent minus $200.
Why would you have paid all of the security deposit?
Because when we moved in together, he was not getting paid that much money. He pays an enormous amount of child support because he's about $20,000 behind.
Did you give her half of the security deposit?
Yes, I did. It was $250.
Who paid it? By check?
We paid cash to the landlord. And it had to go on one person's name, so we just used hers.
Your Honor, the reason that we paid cash was because at the time I was working at a pawn shop and I had a rather expensive ring. And I ended up getting rid of the ring so that we could afford the house.
Let me explain something to you. No court is going to waste their time going through this kind of minutiae with people who choose to live together and test the waters to see if the relationship is going to work. There are certain things that are reasonable. I'm not getting into the $5 here and $10 there and even $50 someplace else. Bird, don't be frightened.
Right.
Thank you. I hope that was an endangered fly.
I doubt it.
Well, there are those things out here in California. Got to be careful.
Your Honor,
in any event, there is certain damage that he caused. There's no question that there's certain damage that he caused. Late fees were, I mean, I don't know about this. Re-rent fee is $275. Advertising fee is $21. Certainly, he lost his cool. Fair statement?
Fair statement, Your Honor.
Good. You lost your cool to the tune of $500. Now, what proof do you have that he actually put flour in the gas tank of your car? Which is the second part of your claim.
I have a couple of things actually to prove that. I have a receipt from the people who initially fixed my car. I had it towed on.
I have no doubt that somehow your car was vandalized. What proof do you have that the defendant did it?
The night that it happened, it was January 12th. We had separated in November, and I had a date that night with my witness. We had gone out. We came back to my house. We had been friends for quite a while, and so we came back to my house. The children were not there, and decided that he was going to stay at my house that night. You know, no big deal. Throughout the night, Mr. Palmer called a couple of times. I told him, you know, the same thing. I wasn't interested in seeing him or talking to him. He had already given me his house key. He did not have access to my house. He was not supposed to be there. He was actually waiting for me at the next door neighbor's house. He had explicit details of what we were doing in the living room because he was watching us through the window. When we decided that it was late enough and we were going to go to bed for the evening, he broke in through the front door, said, "Not in this house, not in this house," and walked right into the bedroom and left, went to his friend's house, called the police, and was going to immediately take back all the things that he said that he was going to give me because he didn't want him anymore. He was so broken up about our relationship that he didn't want his water back.
Okay, so Let's get to the flour in the gas tank.
It was a locked garage. I had extra supplies in the garage. The following day, there was a bag. That's how I knew what it was. There was a bag of flour sitting in the middle of the garage. I actually had to break into the garage at a later date because he wouldn't give me the key. He's the only one that had the key to that garage. And the flour was rummaged out of the box.
You have the key to the garage. How are you going to get your car out?
I didn't leave my car in the garage. I just had belongings in my garage.
So where was the car?
Sitting right in my driveway, right next to the house.
Okay.
He knew,
So?
I mean, it was, we'd been sitting on the couch talking and being intimate with each other for about 2 hours, and he knew things that we were talking about at the beginning of the evening.
So what you're telling me, because he was angry, you assumed, because he was angry, you assumed that he vandalized your car.
It was the following morning that I got up to go to work. It lasted about 6 blocks. My car died. I had it towed, and there was...
So that's what you're telling me. You're telling me that because he was so angry, you assumed that it was him.
Yeah, it would be pretty difficult or very coincidental that it would be somebody else.
I agree with you.
Tony saw him come in.
I agree with you.
He was the one that called the police.
I agree with you. So far, you've been reasonably honest with me, Mr. Palmer. You've been reasonably honest with me about the damage that you caused. You've been reasonably honest with me about everything else, and you haven't been a loser. You haven't been a loser because I try to be reasonable. Did you put anything in the gas tank of the car?
No, Your Honor.
No.
Actually, Your Honor, I had a key to the front door because we were supposed to go out that night, and I knew something was up when she canceled with me. I came by the house about 1 o'clock in the morning. As I'm walking up to the door, the curtains are open.
What were you go?
I
Mr.
see
Palmer,
them
Mr.
on
Palmer.
the couch.
What'd you go there 1 o'clock in the morning for?
Because I knew she was fooling around on me, and that was my waterbed in the house. And when they were on the couch, I was all fine with it. That's how she wants to be. That's how she can be. But when they moved into my waterbed, that's my personal property, I wasn't going to have it. You need written consent to be in my waterbed, pretty much. So I let myself in the door and said, not in my waterbed, everybody else. And the police came and stood by while I drained my waterbed, and I left the same time the police did that night. They stood by for 2 hours while I drained my waterbed and took it apart and moved it next door.
But
it wasn't happening in my bed.
Doesn't that sound like a big baby to you? You took police officers who should have been out on the street taking care of important business.
They actually commended me for keeping my head.
I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Making sure that people's homes are safe, that there aren't muggers in the street, that people aren't getting raped. And you had them stand there for 2 hours while you drained your waterbed so your former girlfriend wouldn't...
They stood by to make sure it didn't turn into a bloodbath, I think.
It shouldn't have turned into a bloodbath. You should have gone home, taken a cold shower, gotten into your bed and said, listen, I got to deal with this like an adult. You went over there at 1 o'clock in the morning.
My name was on the lease. I had every right to be there.
Mr. Palmer, you're being a big baby. And the name you called her is not a nice name. And if you called your old girlfriend that name, it wasn't nice to call your old girlfriend that name. Did you get hit over the head by your old girlfriend?
That was a different name I called her. And I fully deserved that one.
Your Honor, one of the most important things...
Just a second. I want to see the information that you have from your mechanic.
These are... One of the receipts is missing, so I had to make a statement about some of the things that he had done for me. There were towing fees. Just
a second.
And that car has a locking gas cover.
Not anymore. The gentleman that worked on my car fixed it the first time. It was running fine. Then it broke down.
Listen to me. You can't testify for somebody else, and neither can the person who fixed this car.
Right, that's why I had to make that statement. But he had told me it had to have happened on 2 separate occasions. There was no way after he drained and cleaned the tank the first time that the car could have done what it did again unless somebody had put flour in the tank again.
Probably right, but that's not evidence that I can hear.
Okay.
From you. Okay. He owes you $500 that he's going to pay you back for damaging the apartment and also the advertising fee. He lost his temper. You hit him first.
Your Honor, I did not hit him.
I don't care whether you went like this, because I don't believe you went like this to his forehead. I want you to understand that. Just because you look like a very sweet gal, I don't believe that when he came home, you said to him, honey, you usually don't come home this late. You're an hour and a half late. Where were you?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. You were screaming and you were yelling and he called you a foul name. You came back into the room and you gave him a clop in the forehead, right? And as a result of giving him a clop in the head, he got mad and he tore up the place instead of tearing your head off.
While my children were there.
Well, you chose to hit him when your children were there, madam. Don't you think that your children heard it when you were screaming at him, where have you been so late?
I was not screaming at him.
Please. Grow up. I'm not stupid.
I wasn't even able to press assault charges.
Listen to me very carefully, madam.
He ruined my couch, my TV.
I don't care. He didn't ruin your head. You hit him.
Close.
You struck him first. He reacted by damaging your property. That was bad temper. The fact that he's got a foul mouth is also not a good thing. You say, with my children there? With your children there? You started it with him. He reacted badly. He's got a bad temper, but you started it. You started the screaming. He didn't. And if you didn't like the fact that he was out until 12:30 in the morning, you should have scooped up your children and left. Do you understand? I'm not interested in the hearing.
But my older...
Goodbye!